afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Rafi Lounge and Bending Reality Last Class. Thank you all for coming. It's been a crazy 10 weeks, and we are about to start. I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown about what's going to happen today. What are we doing today? I'm going to give you a little bit of background as well, and then I'm going to introduce Candice Barr, who is next to me. And she's gonna be I pulled her right as I told you, there was a car accident. As soon as she came in, I didn't even let her have a glass of water. I said, come, you're coming to the stage. It's called manifestation. So first of all, again, thank you everybody for coming. I think we're gonna warm up into what we're doing today, because there's a lot of things that are gonna happen today, and I'm gonna run through it with you to let you know what's about to happen today and why we're doing it today. First of all, for those who don't know, we've been running a seminar here called Bending Reality for the past, I would say, 10 weeks, give or take, because we had some high holidays in between, and we had above the high holidays, we repeat twice the opening class so that people can learn what we're about to do. And the Bending Reality was really a manifestation course that encompass and involve few different studies. One of them is the one that I love the most, which is Taoism. The other one is that I love actually the most too. So there's two that I love the most, called Hermetism. Hermetism is the philosophy of the old Egyptian that was written on the ancient Egyptian pyramids, and it's later on been developed by a secret society called the Kybalion. And the Kybalion, they put the whole system together. Good morning, Diana. You can join us. Or good afternoon. And with that said, we had brought these 7 principles, one class at a time, into reality, and how will that impact everything that we do in life. Same time, we also evolved some things from Kabbalah and the mysticism, esoteric study of Kabbalah. And last thing is, we brought together something that we call the hemisync system of the Monroe Institution, and this is a system been developed by Monroe Institution and the CIA, of how to control the mind and how to enter into alter realities and even out of body experiences that they use as well. But they've been using it for many years. As a matter of fact, that 1883 is the time that it's been released that they're doing those kind of experiments, and in Virginia actually, and then later on it's been developed and used in many other cases. Now, with that said, all that we encompass into one big study that took a while, and we, in the midst of that, we also went a week ago to Mount Shasta to do transmutation, which is the changing of the mind. And I want to say that on that level, as much as I told people that they need to be challenged in how to transmute the mind from one reality to another, and how when we get into some kind of a patterns and other realities that jump in, or some incidents that really twist our reality, we need to jump and really be on the up and up. There is something that I called at the time, and I say that it's used in psychology, and it's when people have paranoid, but there's something also in psychology called reverse paranoia, which means that paranoid is somebody that is out there, he feels everybody's out there to get him. And reverse paranoia is when you really think that everybody's there to help you. So when people tell you, oh, you look ugly tonight, Rafi, and I say, oh, thank you, I needed to know what's wrong with me so that I can fix it. And that's reverse paranoia. But the more you do it, two things happen that will really confirm that you're on the right path. Number one is you're going to have a better life and you smile all the time, and everybody around you are going to think that you're crazy, which is okay. So that's thing. But with that said, I wanted to touch before, with your permission, before we even start the main thing. Um, as I was in Mount Shasta, I was challenged myself more than anybody there, because, as you know, there was attack on Israel, and this attack impact each and every Israeli that was there. because, as you know, Israel is a very small country, and we all know somebody that been abducted or died or something like that. And I wanted to tell you that it took a lot for me to do both, but I had to practice what I preach for 1 week with everybody and know how to jump during the day from one reality of teaching people about wellness and everything, and at night deal with Israel and listen to families that need help and see what I can do. With that say, I am not going to bring today any politics into this table. I would ask everybody to not bring it, because then we today, on that specific day, not doing what we came to do here. So I am Israeli. I have all the compassion for everybody. I have compassion for mankind in general as well. But today it's all about you, and you winning your own demons within you and really going on up. And that's what I want you to do today, okay? Can we do it?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So with that said, without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you one of my best friends. She's a member. She's one of our original member, Candice Barr. And Candice Barr, I want to say a few words. Anyone saw my feed this morning, Coffee with Rafi on Instagram that I did? So I was talking about Candice, and I'm gonna say it again. Candice is somebody that I've been following now for a while. She's somebody that I myself seen her times and times again moving the needle very quickly and very swift, making things happen for mainly women in the entrepreneurial world. She swim with the people, and that's something that I have to do, and I'll let her talk more about it. But she manifests a lot, and she works with the law of attraction. And what she does is, she said to me, Rafi, there's some people that vibrates that way, and that's fine. That's where they're supposed to be. But when they come to me and they want to move the needle, they need to understand that they need to have a very different mindset of abundance, and they cannot even think about, well, I don't have to do it, or what money will it take. If they ask me what money, she told me once, then we're already on the wrong vibration. And I've seen her do it here with us. I've seen her do it with other people. And she wrote a book that she created. It's finished, right? It's out there, right?
It's finished. It's going to be in my hands in like a week. So it's like having a newborn baby. I'm excited.
Tell me the name of the book.
Believing Before Seeing.
Believing Before Seeing. So whoever did with us the whole thing, understand that it's all starts with the imagination before that, and then if you don't have the believing eye. So we're going to dive into it. So really, so that we know the crowd here is people, everybody came here to really learn how to manifest things in life. So I wanted to ask you first, what made you, tell me about yourself a little bit.
Let's see. So I'm originally from the East Coast. I'm from New Hampshire, and I came to Los Angeles about 21 years ago. I started a PR company, and from the PR company kind of molded into multimedia. So actually, Luxe Media is my company. We do professional vodcasts and podcasts. We have a magazine, and the magazine is strictly for female entrepreneurs only. Female entrepreneurs have always been on my heart the entire ride of business. And that's because the ladies are finally, instead of, not working together, we're finally coming into collaboration. And so that's really big on my heart and really big on getting it out there. And being a female in media is actually quite rare. And so we're able to use our platform to get those voices actually out there to the people, to hear them, to see them. For some reason, ladies, I think we're typically raised to kind of be in the background, and it's our job to put you in the front.
Yes. I think I said it when I talked about it today with you. I said that one thing that I feel that with the situation, again, without going to politics, but with everything happening in the world, I think it will need the women to really come forward, because they practice more than anybody else unconditional love, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me about how the women in your world, when they come to your world, because I've seen your world. Your world is a very exclusive world. You don't take anybody as a client. What does it take for a woman? Does she need to come with that consciousness already in?
There has to, I have a really good friend that told me a definition of the word entrepreneur, and I loved it so much I kept it for myself, but I always give him credit. The definition of entrepreneur to me is the bearer of risk, right? So you have to lean into the unknown. You have to lean into being scared. You have to lean into being fearful. Put one foot in front of the other and do it anyway, no matter how you feel, no matter what.
How did you do it? How did you put yourself in it?
It was a wild ride. So it's a lot of not, especially in the beginning, not knowing what you're doing, not knowing how it's going to shake out, not knowing what the results are going to be, but having an idea of what you like the end result to maybe look like. And you kind of just mold and shift and as you go along. That's entrepreneurship. You're never guaranteed anything in life. So you just got to do it. Screw it, just do it, right?
Absolutely. So let me ask you, did you ever start something that you didn't even know what you're going into and you just went deep inside, like
always,
full on?
Always.
Give me an example.
When we started the PR company, so the PR company started a long time ago, and I was always very good at connecting the right business people together to do business together. It was always kind of a really great gift. And so I started doing that for several years, and then other people started noticing, and then bigger companies or bigger entrepreneurs that were really doing big things asked me to network for them. And then it kind of all molded out of a need. I saw a need, I knew I could fulfill the need, and everything came from there. Even with the magazine, I would say, the magazine, it's still rocking and rolling. I'm so excited about the magazine still. And that was created because we had some clients that the bigger magazines that you would know didn't want to put them on the cover because nobody knew them yet. So I said, well, what do we have to do to get them on the cover with you? And they said they need to be on one magazine to get them on the bigger ones. And I said, great, we'll create a magazine. So my team figured out how to create a magazine for online and print. We got them on the magazine, and then we got them on the bigger magazine covers. I never did any of that in my life. You figure it out as you go. You say yes, and then you build the plane as you fly it.
Yeah. So let me ask you. Obviously, entrepreneurial is built with a lot of milestones that are sometimes failure, but failure is a success. Can you tell me a story like that?
So I don't necessarily believe in the word failure. That's not in my vocabulary. Okay. I believe in the word learning lessons. And you're going to go through a lot of those on a daily basis, several on a daily basis, as you know.
Yes.
And you really just grow a very thick skin, and you have to be able to get through things very quickly. Even if in the beginning you're not like that, trust me, if you want to maintain, you will learn how to just emotionally get through things very quickly. Next. You can't let things hold you back, because if you emotionally stick onto something, you're not going to be able to move forward in the way that you want to.
So let's dive a little bit in, okay? Because I want them to really feel a little bit in. Do you have people that are close to you that you feel that in one stage they just become a burden or a stagnation?
That's one thing with growing, not just in entrepreneurship, but I think personally as well. Someone who started with you either personally or professionally, not necessarily is going to end with you. And you, throughout your either entrepreneur journey or personal journey, you're going to need to be able to move forward without certain people. And they may not have done anything wrong specifically, but it's just no longer serving. It's no longer serving you. It may not be no longer serving them. And you have to have the strength and the power inside you to be able to move forward independently.
So let me ask you, because I know a little bit of your history. You said no to a lot of money a few times, right? Mm-hmm. Tell me one example. Why say no to money?
I love abundance. I love prosperity. Money, having a lot of money to me is just a tool to be able to create and do big, cool things and to help a lot of people. It gives you a lot of opportunity. It gives other people around you a lot of opportunity if you want it to be like that. It energetically has to make sense for me. It has to align. And, I run the company very much off of intuition, gut feeling, however you want to call it. And I'm always right. So I put a lot into myself. I bet on myself every time. So if it didn't feel right in the beginning, before you sign contracts, it's definitely not going to shake out in the end. And I'd rather save a lot of time and energy for both parties and just not sign those contracts, because it's not going to shake out.
And that's from experience.
That's definitely from experience.
So let me ask you. So you've done this studies through life, through PR, through understanding people. Obviously, you interview through your and I've seen you also interview a lot of actually motivational speakers as well as others in your podcast. And have you come through somebody that you feel that he's motivational speaker without saying names, but you feel that it's not there, and why?
Yes, the answer to that is yes. There has been a couple. And, when you see someone on camera or on TV or on stage, it's sometimes a completely different persona than their personal life. So it's very inauthentic to me. And it was very interesting to see those two sides come out. And you're kind of like, oh, okay. Like I got to meet, I'm going to give you an example. There was a woman, she's still around. You want to talk about powerhouse? She's a powerhouse. I don't know anyone more powerful than this lady. And I had looked up to her and watched her journey since I was 15 years old. I'm 39 now. My dream came true. Everyone used to ask me like what my most, stellar interview would be if I could interview this person. And she was always my answer. Always, always. I got to interview her. I got to go to her house to interview her. And when I met her, it was a quite a different look than what was portrayed or what was in my mind of this person. And so this person I had held on a pedestal the entire time was no longer there anymore. So you don't really know until you know.
So with that said, tell me a little bit about your book.
Oh, my book. So it's my first book and I'm really excited. It's called Believing Before Seeing, Believing into Existence. And I think a lot of people were taught kind of incorrectly, I'm going to say, everyone's like, if I see it, I believe it. When I see it, I'll believe it. It's incorrect because you have to feel into the thing, feel into the end result, feel into what you want. The feeling of it is the key to creating it in your reality. So I have in the book different steps and tools that I've used and I still use throughout my life, throughout my business that have worked tremendously for me.
So when you say that if somebody is going into a certain reality, right, and the reality is tough, and not everybody born into the same reality, right? And some people, do you feel that no matter what reality you're on, you can use it? Or let's say that you have started, because I look sometimes and says, okay, it's easy. We're sitting here in Malibu. We're in a beautiful balcony overlooking the ocean, at Rafi Lounge with great food. And that's the commercial 5 minutes. And and there we go. But there's a kid in Africa who born into nothing. Let's say that he would end up with your book in your hand. Do you think it can somehow help him?
I'm going to hope so, because no matter where you are in life, you're always doing work on yourself. You're doing yourself personally, professionally. You're always growing, shifting constantly. If the want is there, I don't care where you are in life. If the want is there for a growth and a better for yourself, you can create it. Absolutely.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I just remember a story. I used to live in South Africa and I lived in a tree house. And whoever knows me knows that I cannot take anything, not joints, no nothing. I'll end up in hospital. So I never knew what it is. And my mom came to visit me there one day and there was a guy named John. He was a priest. And I was living in the middle of the fields and he always work and he's always happy and he's a priest and he understand. And then my mom comes to visit me, she says, Rafi, you live in the middle of a marijuana field. You know that? I'm like, no, I didn't. And this guy always used to draw all kind of cars. I moved to America and one day I see him on CNN and with his cars that Mercedes employed him to do. And he was like nothing, and just he had a dream in his mind. In Africa.
I also want to make a point too. I'm big on this. If you're in a space either right now or, not everyone's positive all the time. It's very hard to keep that space all the time. But if you're in a bad mood that day or not having the greatest day, as happens, and you want to shift that really quickly, gratitude and appreciation are very powerful tools. Being here, grateful for this. You got to create this thing. You created this. And I love this story of yours. Gratitude and appreciation and being kind and nice to others, it costs you nothing. And it in return gives you so much.
Yes. And thank you. And let me ask you that. So when somebody goes through a challenge or a challenge day, like you said, and some, not every day is a beautiful, bright day, do you, what we call here, jump out of the pendulum and observe it and just let it be? You do say, well, you know what, I'm just not going to deal it, or I'm going to go full on?
I'm going to say depends what it is, right? So sometimes I let go of the reins. I'm like, you know what, today I'm going to let it go and see what shakes out, you know, because it's, I would also say entrepreneurship, I always have said this forever, entrepreneurship is like this. You're always on edge here. Sometimes they're really, really great. Sometimes they're really not. And that's kind of just how it goes. Sometimes you lean into it, kind of you run toward the fire and you just see what shakes out, really. But there has to be an inner calmness no matter what you decide to do. Some days you're letting go of the reins and sometimes you're running toward the fire full on and you're going to figure out and it's going to be what's going to be. But either way, it's going to shake out in your favor if you believe that.
So I want to ask actually some the people here. How many people here do you believe in your mind you have the entrepreneurial world, or you're in the entrepreneurial world right now, and how many are just comfortable with working and just have a business that is working and steady? How many people are entrepreneurial world? Okay, it's 50%. So that's interesting. So let's talk about the other 50, because if it's 50, then there's 50% the people that don't want to there. So they don't want to be in that reality, right? They don't want to be in just steady reality. So is that book?
Well, I'm going to say just because you're not an entrepreneur doesn't mean things are steady. So
Especially these days.
Completely. So the book is really created to create what you want and pull it into your reality. It doesn't matter. It could be anything. I don't care. It could be little small things, big things. I don't care what it is. And it's not timing. You can get what you want immediately, but you have to, there is tools and steps to do that, to create that now. And sometimes you create so quickly that it's overwhelming.
Yeah. And it's sometimes about relationship rather than just
Could be
business or
anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Okay. All right. So with that said, do you know how many parts in your book?
How many what?
How many chapters?
There's 8.
8. Why?
I like the number 8. And that's where the book ended. But also it is meant to be a series. So I'm already going for the second book and the third. It's very much like a chicken soup for the soul idea. But it was always created to be a series.
So let's say like that. If you scan internally with your book and you sit now in front of a crowd, what are the points that you would say, 1 or 2 points that really like to take from this book, that you feel that anybody with that tip, it can move the needle for him in his life?
I mean, there's several, but I would say the details of feeling into, which I think a lot of people don't know what that even feels like. And then also, I'm a huge advocate, and everyone has heard this before, and it does work. I have a lot of proof of it. Writing things down is very, very powerful. It's very powerful.
Why?
Because it makes it clear for yourself, first and foremost, and it's almost like putting an order out to the universe. And when you start getting these things, you can cross it off. When you're able to cross things off physically, that's very powerful.
You know, I did few businesses before, and I built business plans all the time. And I realized one thing in business plan. Business plans are good as your imagination.
Yes.
They have nothing to do, because I can say, well, in the first year, I'm going to make 5 million. On the second, and really, it's a dream. But it's a dream in my mind. But at least it gives me really a good look at what I really think it's going to become.
Yes.
And then it's up for changes.
Well, as you know, like we might have a certain plan, but it never in my life has it gone to my plan. Like the end result I did get, but it was like this.
Yes. That's why I say I like manifestations and everything, but I also said that I'm the man with no plan, right?
Yeah, never ask me my 5-year plan, because I don't know. I never wrote a business plan in my life. I wrote down what I'd like to
Do you know what you're doing tomorrow morning?
What was tomorrow morning? I'll be waking up back in Arizona.
Okay. Because I don't know. I don't know usually what I do the next day, but I do know that I look at realities that I want to create.
Yeah.
And like you said, even with Rafi Lounge, I came here, I saw it, and I said, okay, this balcony can be a very beautiful place for wellness, for things like that.
Well, I want to interview you for a second because I don't know if everybody knows this story, but the creation of this lounge is such an amazing story. And I remember you telling me this, like you were walking on the beach in Malibu before you even had this place. It was just an idea, as everything starts as an idea. And then sometimes you're like, how, then you get into the how. The how is not your job. It was never your job. Your only job is to receive, I call it divine downloads. It's a chapter in the book. You receive the download and put the physical action toward it, but the how is never up to you. So I kind of want everyone to hear this story a little bit.
I'll give you
The short version.
the short version. Yes. Um, when I came here, there was a balcony with just a floor, few chairs, and one broken tennis table. And I was looking at it, and I'm looking at the view, and when I asked Adam, amazing guy who was working here, because he introduced me to the place, I said, "Oh, what is it here?" And he said to me, "Well, I mean, I'm doing venture capital." I said, "Well, what are you doing with the balcony?" And he said, "Nothing."
Mm.
And immediately my light bulb went on, and I said, "What do you mean nothing?" He said, "Nothing. What am I supposed to do with that?" I said, "You? Nothing. I will." And I'm an artist,
Yeah.
I've got my mandalas and all the things that I do. I never start anything prior to that. I use a Sasumi technique. Sasumi is a Japanese technique to do brush painting. Sasumi artists, or Isumi, more Isumi, they look at a canvas sometimes for 1 month.
Mm.
And after 1 month, we'll take the brush and just do one stroke of a brush, and we'll be done. I went here day, night, doing nothing, sitting here by myself like a zombie, watching the waves, watching the place. And then I went home and I said, I know.
Well, this is manifestation at its finest, putting yourself in the thing of it, creating it in your mind. And this is exactly how it was created in your mind back then. So, being a visionary, believing before seeing, like being a visionary, entrepreneurship is it's a very creative space.
Yeah.
It's not really for business people per se. It's really for creatives because you're able to create whatever you want whenever you want, change things. Things are never going to stay the same. And it's really a fun space to be in.
It's really a fun space. Obviously, it's a risky space. It's a space that costs money.
Costs
right?
money, costs time, costs energy, costs your sanity sometimes, but it's fun. You have really cool moments of awesome fun while dealing with so many other things.
And I think it helps. I must say, maybe not from a ego perspective, but it helps when people say, "Hey, I really benefit from that." When you see that people really benefit from that, and they come and say, "I really feel that it changed my life," or "I really think that now you know that you did something really, really good," because even the one person, I said it many times. I'm now over 3 years. Even if tomorrow this place now does not exist, I know that few people, at the least,
Yeah,
we took them from nothing
Yeah.
and from broken pieces and put them together.
absolutely.
So that's really that's where I'm looking at it. I'm saying, okay,
And it's really great too on your point, like when you create something and other people are on board with your dream and what your outcome.
yes,
That's very, very, very powerful as well.
yeah, and this place would be. To tell you the truth, and that's one thing, I call it the big canvas and the small canvas technique, because the big canvas is the big picture. We all have big picture and big dreams and big things, and it's one thing to have created something and then you sell it. And it happened to me. The other day, somebody come to me and she says to me, "Oh, you sell your mandalas? I want to buy your mandala." I said, "No, I don't." I said, "Oh, but I'll tell you what I'll do. You go home, you meditate, you think, what would you think your mandala should look like? You come to me and talk to me for a few days, and then I'll create what's in your mind." So that's one thing. But in the short term of the canvas that called Rafi Lounge, I and Karen, everybody knows, I'm here every morning and I recreate this canvas every day. So when people look at me and I talk to them and suddenly I see the bird and I'm like stuck on the hummingbird or on the butterflies, which right away there's so many of them right now. In the last few days, it's just packed with butterflies.
Nice.
You recreate your creation every
Yes.
day, and I think this is one of the most important thing in manifestation. Manifestation is not about, okay, I've done it, what's next?
Right.
It's doing it and living it. Then you really enjoy it.
And again, I'm going to go back to and being appreciative for it.
Yeah.
Appreciative.
And I think appreciation comes from appreciation and I really feel that the creator has to do with that, because we are just a channel, we're just a vessel, and we bring something into here and you say, wow, that's cool. He really got me all the tools all this time. And I think that's important to understand in everything, in relationship too. Rabbi Berg, who we're going to see his son, Rabbi Berg passed away a few years ago, and he's going to talk to his son, Yehuda Berg, who wrote many manifestation books, Kabbalah books. He's going to speak here at 8 o'clock. And Rabbi Berg's once been asked, what do you love more, your wife or God? And he said, I don't know how my wife going to look at me tonight, but I love God. But I can explain it before she jump on me. Without God, I wouldn't have my wife. So there's the higher power, what we call, or whatever you want to call it, that really bring us all those ideas, allow us to have the tools if we trust it.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? And I think that's the main thing.
Trust, have faith, whatever that looks like for you. And what's outside is within, what inside is without, is all literally all connected. And I would suggest that when you start writing down your manifestations, if you haven't already, go big. It's free. Go big. Don't manifest scared. Manifest with trust and faith. You can't go too big. You can't ask for enough, and see what happens.
Yes, I agree. So let's talk about conclusions.
Okay.
Let's say we're living now in this. No, we're living in this world right now. We have a lot of people who came here for 10 weeks, and they've been writing, I hope, everything that, and I have notebooks with them, because I told them to bring the notebooks with them today. So today, you can look up here first. You see that above? It's a hawk. Whoever didn't see it, there's two of them. So they all come to say hi. A few months ago, they came here and he got stuck here in the window, and we got him out and released him again. And since then, we see them coming, which is really great. So you see what I mean? I see birds, I forget even that I'm here. Seriously, that always happened to me. So with that said, we are here. Everybody worked so hard. I want you to give one tool, one thing, one conclusion that you say, okay, if you would walk out, and the writing, I understand, is one thing, but if you walk out today and you want to manifest one thing that is really priority in your life, what's the first step? Let's say they did the book, they're writing the book. What's the first step they need to do? I know that it's very big range of things, but is there something that they need to do?
I would say believing that you have the power within. It's not outside, it's inside. That's the first and foremost. That's the first step to me.
Okay, believing before sin. So you got it from Candice. Candice, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Believing Before Seeing, a new book by Candice Barr, teaching you how to believe into existence. Available now for pre-order.
I always say that when people ask me what does it mean to be spiritual, I think that if I can sum it up in one word, it's always trust. Because when you have the trust, everything somehow falls into place. Maybe it's not easy. Maybe it will take turns that we don't even expect. But if we still trust, then in the end of the day, we enjoy what we see. We've been through 10 weeks here of a lot of studies. We study a lot of things, anywhere from mentalism, the law of correspondence, all the way to the last one, which I say I'm going to touch a little bit today, and I'm going to do it later, which is the law of gender. And the law of gender is always the most sensitive and the last one in the Kybalion. And the reason why the law of gender is sensitive, because when in this day and age, when you say law of gender, everybody's like, hey, be careful what you're saying right now. Be politically correct. But I'm not going to be politically correct at all today, because the law of gender has nothing to do with the gender as we know it. It really has to do about what does it mean to have a male and female energy and why we all have to be in touch with both of sides, with everything, because you cannot have one without the other. And by the law of the universe, also on the big scale, without the law of gender, you don't give rebirth to new ideas, right? Or to new creations. So that's something that we're going to touch later. I'm just explaining you what's to come. Now, in general, today was really a summary and really a celebration of life and celebration that all we did. And it's almost like feeling like when you finish high school and you have to say goodbye to everybody and like, oh, what are we going to do? And Rafi, what's going to happen next Sunday? So let me tell you about next Sunday. Next Sunday, it's Halloween. So I'm going to tell you about what happened to me last Halloween before we start the whole lecture here. Last Halloween, I went to it was a party of it's a modeling agency, very big modeling agency, and I came there because a lot of the models used to come to this lounge, and I came with my monk uniforms because I didn't know really what to dress, and it's comfortable and I'm used to it. So I came with my monk uniforms, and in the beginning I came there and everybody said, "Oh, Rafi, you here?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, but you dress as normal." They're like, "No, that's my monk uniform from China." And they said, "Yeah." So everybody was so happy to see me. So I was with them, and after 5-10 minutes, everybody's like looking like Rafi is here. We can't even drink, So I felt I'm really becoming a disturbance in the party, and I took everything and I said, okay, I'm going to Jamie Foxx's house, and that's where we end up in the party because I realized I don't want to party. So this year we're gonna do it here. We're gonna be a very secluded. Leila gonna do a fashion show as always, and after the fashion show, we're gonna go into a party, and you're all welcome to come and just celebrate and enjoy each other with hopefully very interesting costumes. Now, that's first, and then let me tell you about what we're about to have today. I am very, very excited because first of all, we had Candice. Candice gave us such a beautiful insight to her world, and I wish we learn more, but I do recommend you later to go and introduce yourself and meet Candice because she has so much insight about so many stories and so many things and we know each other for so long, and she really doing very well what she does. And we have two more speakers coming today. Later on at 8 o'clock, if nothing changed, then Yehuda Berg gonna be here. Yehuda Berg is the son of Rabbi Berg, which I talked a lot about him through my whole seminar, who created the Kabbalah Center and been really the spirit behind letting to the world have the understanding what is Kabbalah and why is it the property of the world and everybody should use it in this DNA. And that's going to be once keynote speakers that's going to come later. And before, we have now another keynote speaker that I'm so excited about, and his name is Joseph. And whoever doesn't know Joseph, then I'm going to explain you. Whoever haven't heard about Joseph, many people know him from his speaking engagement with Tony Robbins for many years. I don't even know how many years, but many years that he's been really giving. And by the way, I'm going to tell you something that I never shared with anybody. I was in a very tough crossroad. I had a company. I lost everything I had in my company. I found out actually that I have somebody that took money from the company, and I lost everything I had. And my friend Johnny, who I don't know if he's here or if he's not here, if not, he's coming. But Johnny pushed me to go to Tony Robbins at the time. And I'm talking not long ago. I'm talking about 5-6 years ago. And Johnny pushed me, and then another person pushed me, which is Dr. Newman. And every time I had a resentment, I'm like, nah, I don't know. I have my Kung Fu master in China. I don't need to go to Tony Robbins, right? And then I went to Tony Robbins, and that was around March or April. And then I opened Tao Social Media right after that. And I created the gift suites, and it's I'm not saying it out of like show off, but just out of being in debts, I made by the end of that year over $1 million cash, like properly. And because sometimes you think you know it all and you know nothing, and only when you understand you know nothing, you start to learn. In karate, you come with a white belt. You get a white belt. You know why? Because in karate, they say when you come as a broken kid maybe, or somebody who need help, but you come in your own pureness, vulnerability to the teacher, asking him to teach you. And slowly, you grow into what? Black belt, right? And everybody say, well, black belt is great. No, black belt means now you understand you really know nothing. And only then you start to study. That's a black belt. If you think black belt is when everybody stand like that, oh, I got a black belt. No, black belt means you understand now that you know nothing. Now you're becoming a student of karate. And this is really what it is. So I saw Joseph at this amazing lectures, and he took over the stage. I think he was doing 70% of the work, and everybody's just like that and writing and doing things. So just so that you know, Joseph is about to come on the stage. I'm going to tell you right now, you want to bring your notebooks on the side. You want to take some notes. You want to write questions. The great thing is that is over above what he always do. He's going to do some Q&As in the end, which is amazing. So I'm very excited about it. And without further ado, please welcome Joseph to the stage. The third. Thank you.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Come on, stop. Make them stop. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, good evening. And I want to first start things off saying that because of this man, he and I have been trying to make this happen since you started it, I know. And I want to thank you for your patience, because it has been a conflict of schedules for the past 2 months, maybe a little bit more. And so I want to thank you for your patience, and thank you for this opportunity. Second, I want to thank you all for the gift of your trust, because you don't know what's getting ready to happen to you. And what I mean by that is, when I asked Ravi, what do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to run my pie hole about for the next hour or however long? He said, anything manifestation or laws of attraction. He said, these people will eat it up. And my assumption is that's true. Is that true? Okay. So I want to give you a choice before I get started. And this will determine the pace and what I talk about, because I can talk about those things, and I can talk about the laws of attraction, I can talk about manifestation, or I can give you something that trumps all of that stuff and the philosophy underneath it and the science underneath it, and then give you something to do so that it starts to work even better for you. Which one do you want? So it is the latter. And so, as Ravi said, the only thing I ask is this. I ask actually two things. And I joke around a lot as we get started, and I have a lot of fun up here. So I'm going to ask you to do 3 things, actually. One of them I don't even need to ask because you're here, and that is to have an open mind about what I'm about to share with you with, because it may oppose some of what you already know and maybe not. But if you're willing to have an open mind, just go like that. Anybody not? Okay. Because I will test you. And the second thing is that please do take notes, because seriously, I'm not going to just talk to you about stuff and share with you stuff, because you've already got enough knowledge. You already do. We already all know this stuff. And I want to give you something, a new perspective, if you will, and then something to do about it. So if you'll take the notes, then you'll have that when you leave here, and you won't have to go, what did he say? And the third thing is to interact with me as we go through this process, because it won't be just me yak. It'll be me working with you to do something. Are you up for that? Yes? Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you. And so I'll share with you a little bit about myself, kind of what qualifies me to be up here talking with you. I am actually a native Californian. I grew up in a small town not too far from here. How many of you have ever heard of Lancaster, California? Yeah, you know. It's a bleached, cultureless vacuum that teeters on the edge of nothing out there in the middle of the desert. And that's where I grew up. And then next I moved to Los Angeles. But the reason I share that with you is that I've been here for a while, so I've got that California attitude, if you will. And the California attitude is what Ravi has built here, and that is that it's a peaceful place when you find it and you make it. And so my background is, by profession, I'm a psychologist, a neuropsychologist. I taught at UCLA for several years. And I actually had a practice not too far from here where I help people get over fears and phobias and emotional challenges and things that hinder their lives. And because it's LA, every freak you could possibly imagine came through my doors. And because it was LA, I mean, it was like nowhere else I've ever been. Some of the craziest things, people that I've had the privilege of working with. And as you also probably have gathered by now, I'm a little unorthodox in the way that I go about doing things. Said differently, I practice something called neuroencoding. And neuroencoding is simply the process of programming oneself to automatically default to your best behavior or your best emotion, your best you, so that you don't have to do it. You don't have to work up to it. You don't have to put yourself in state. You don't have to do all those things. So it happens to you automatically. Oops, is that me? No, I'm back. Okay. And so it is, let's just say, a more rapid way of getting things done. And so the question I want to ask is, how many of you want what you want, whatever that is? We'll figure that out as we go along. How many of you want what you want sooner rather than later? Yeah, it doesn't mean that you're going to rush through stuff. It's just that why not get it sooner so you can enjoy it more and you can share it with other people. I call that further faster. And so the way that I work is this, as you will see, and I'm going to tell you everything that I do. I'm going to be an open book here for the next little while, because I don't want you to think that I'm doing anything that you don't understand or can't understand, or it's outside of the realm of, because I have a PhD, I know more than you. That's not it. The truth of the matter is, simplicity is the name of the game. It truly is. You all know that. And so people would come to me to help get over some pretty major things. And when I first started, I would do back-to-back sessions. I would do 1 hour, the next hour somebody else would come, and the next hour somebody else would come, the next hour somebody else would come in. And so I had to get the job done. And I never wanted it to be that somebody come into me and, okay, we'll get this far, and then you come back next week, and then next week, and the next week, and in a year maybe we'll get over it. And as a matter of fact, when I was in college, they taught us that, and by the way, this is no shade on traditional therapy or anything, and that's not what I'm going to talk about here today. It's just that they taught us that somebody that has, say, a fear of dogs or a fear of heights or anything like that, that is going to be 3 months to a year, sometimes 2 or 3 years to get over that. And you're going to come in and lay down on my couch, and we're going to talk about, well, when did the puppy bite you? And when did all this happen? And eventually, through a series of questions that I'm going to ask you, eventually you're going to go, I'm tired of paying this guy, I'm ready to go, okay? But if you come into my office and you got a fear of dogs, take a guess what's going to be in my office. There's going to be a dog, and at the end of that session, actually before the end of that session, you're not only going to hold the dog, and you're not only going to be petting the dog and be okay with the dog, but when you leave, I'm going to give you something to do so that it grows exponentially, not just for dogs, but for other things in your life as well. And so that's my outcome anytime I come to the stage, and that's my outcome for you as well today. So I'm going to share some stuff with you. Does that sound good? Fabulous, okay? So I'm going to share some stuff with you. Again, a different perspective, and more specifically, a different perspective on the concept of manifestation and the concept of the laws of attraction, if you will. And I want to ask, and please do not be shy, and as Ravi said, when this is over, I'll take questions about anything. It'd be my honor to do that with you. So I want to ask, and please speak up if you have an opinion on it, what are the laws of attraction? Okay, so this is you now, okay? And the reason I ask that question, everything that I do has a reason and a purpose, by the way, everything. And like I said, if you come in, there's going to be a dog, and there's going to be something that I'm going to do, and everything is sequential so that it all gets the outcome that we want. And I ask that question on purpose because most people have a general understanding of what it is, and we say things like, what I think about, I bring about. Okay? I read the book. As a matter of fact, just so you know, let me back up for a second. I said kind of what qualifies me to be here. There was a time in my life in Lancaster that I was homeless. And I was homeless because when I was 17 and a half years old in another hellhole called Bakersfield, California, 3 grown men tried to take my life because of the color of my skin. And it wasn't just what they did to me. It's what they said to me about me, as you might imagine. That stuck in my mind, and that became my psychology, and that became how much I hated myself even more. And what changed my life was somebody gave me a book called Think and Grow Rich. How many of you have read the book? Okay, so here's a question. How many of you read the book and did what the book said consistently? Just a couple of people. Most of us have read the book and go, that is awesome, that's great, okay? But I was desperate, and I read the book, and I did what the book said. And that is where I first started learning about the possibility of attracting something into my life, yeah? Because as a matter of fact, in case you don't know this, the movie The Secret, guess where it came from? Think and Grow Rich. As a matter of fact, in the book, if you remember, what does Napoleon Hill say? I have a secret. And the way he set it up was you had to figure out what it was. And so when I ask you, what are the laws of attraction, most of us go blank. And most of us can't explain it. If you can't explain it, then guess what? There's a part of your unconscious mind that doesn't understand it. And it is the reason why all of us don't have ponies and cars and Lamborghinis and things like that, or whatever it is that you want. Because your unconscious doesn't understand it, and it's got to get there. And so today I want to make that much better for you, which, by the way, the laws of attraction and manifestation are only 2 of the 21 immutable laws of something called magnetism. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Magnetism. And it's not about just you attracting something to you. Look up here for a second. Raise your hand if you've ever sabotaged yourself. If you're not raising your hand, you lie about other things as well, because all of us do. How many of you have, we've done things like this. We said, tomorrow I'm going to start my diet, all right? Or tomorrow I'm going to make this phone call that I've needed to say. Or I'm going to talk to this person, I'm going to do something. And what happened tomorrow? Squirrel! And you go off and or this. How many of you have one of these? Yeah, it's the law. You got to have one these days. And it's just designed, don't get me started. It is designed to keep you distracted. It's designed that way. And so sabotage, as you're going to see here in a second, is part of human nature when we do not have our magnetism turned on. And so I'm going to have you write something down. And this is called, I want you to write this down because we've determined that we want what we want sooner rather than later. I call that further, faster. Write that down at the top of your page. Further, faster. And all that means is whatever you want, whatever that is, and by the way, I know what you want, and you're going to agree with me here in just a little bit, as arrogant as that sounds. You're going to go, damn it, he's right. I don't know you personally yet, but you're going to go here in a moment, yes, that's what I want. Which, by the way, that is the number 1 step, always. You got to know what you want. If you don't know what you want, then guess what? You're not going to be able to get a plan. You're not going to be able to have belief in yourself. You're not going to have all that stuff. And so at the top of your page, you write further, faster. And this is what I call, underneath that, right, the 60-20-20 rule. And this is what I want you, the reason I want you to write this down, I'm not going to give you a whole lot of stuff to write down, but when you go back tomorrow and you go, what was that crazy guy talking about? It's going to be a trigger for you to go, oh yeah, so that you'll understand it, so that it goes in your unconscious mind, because I promise you, within the next 5-7 minutes, you're going to understand the whole thing. And so we've all heard that achievement and success, whatever that is for you, comes down to the 80-20 rule. How many of you heard the 80-20 rule, right? 80% your psychology, meaning what you think, and 20% mechanics. If you think you can, then you probably can. And the universe will show up and hand you stuff, okay? If you just think you can. And I don't disagree with that. But the challenge is most of us don't think we can. Most of us have that little bitch on our shoulder going, yeah, well, you know what? You didn't do this before. You're too fat. You're too white. You're too this or whatever. How many of you have what I call the internal dialogue from hell? Raise your hand, right? And it just never shuts the hell up unless you're meditating or you're doing something to deliberately shut it the hell up. But for the most part, it doesn't shut up. And so the 60-20-20 rule is sort of along those lines, but this is the magic. This is the magic behind the whole thing. And I should tell you, I don't teach theory. And what that means is I don't teach something that A, I don't practice and have done myself. And then B, I haven't taught now millions of other people to do. And then C, those people haven't taught people as well, because that's my thing right now, is I want to make sure that what I do lives further than me. Because the gentleman that gave me the book, Think and Grow Rich, that changed my life, when I went back to him to thank him for what he did to me, I said, how do I thank you? What do I do for you to pay you back? He said, Joseph, how you pay me back is you do the same thing that I've done for you, for as many people as you possibly can for the rest of your life. And that's why I'm here right now. And so that's the only other thing that I ask you to do. Use it, get whatever benefit, and then you teach other people as well, because we don't learn just from knowledge. We learn from experience. Matter of fact, we learn from our mistakes, but we grow from our experiences. And so I want to give you experience. So the 60-20-20 rule is this. 60% of your success, your achievement of anything that you create in your life comes down to your psychology. 60% psychology. Now, let me ask you another tough question. What is psychology? Got one person pointing at her head, okay? Two people now pointing at your head. What the hell does that mean? Okay? Again, if you don't know what it is, then your unconscious mind is unsure. And if your unconscious mind is unsure of it, then the chances of you actually doing anything about it reduce ridiculously. Because, listen, I know you wouldn't be here if you aren't driven. Just to be in this sphere, in this atmosphere of people, you're driven people, I know that. And you're here because you want more, yeah? I don't know what it is, but you want more. I'm going to tell you what it is here in a second, but you want more. So let me tell you what psychology is, just so you know. So you'll be able to go, watch this, look at me for a second. So you go like this. Matter of fact, do that now. Go like this, go. Because that's what you're going to do here for a second, okay? So I'm a psychologist, and I have a book at home, I was just talking to another group, that is this thick just on the definition of psychology. And you know what? I've had it since college, 100 years ago. And I still, as I look at it, it's just like, what the hell does this mean? So how about I simplify it for you? Here's what your psychology is, just so you know. It is your constant conscious and unconscious thoughts, and all you got to write this down, is about yourself, other people, and the world at large. That's it. Whatever you're thinking about yourself, consciously and unconsciously, that is your main psychology. Whatever you're thinking, and that will trigger what you're thinking about other people. That's your second main psychology. And whatever you're thinking about the world around you, people are good, people are bad, you know, this is that or whatever. That's what makes you tick, okay? That's your psychology. Now, let me show you how you function as a human being that you will remember for the rest of your life, and it's part of your, first off, does this make sense? Okay? Psychology is just what you think about yourself, other people in the world around you. And the number one piece of psychology is what you think about yourself. Because if you got doubts about yourself, if you've got insecurities about yourself, you know, anything at all that is negative, that is going to affect everything else in your life. How you eat, how you don't eat, how you exercise, how you don't exercise, the money you make, the money you won't make. It all comes down to that. Now, here's what I'd like you to do. Put your books down. Now, you promised that you'd play along, all right? Put your books down. I just want everybody to stand up, okay? Stand up. And I'm going to show you something, and this is exactly how you function as a human being. First off, we understand, I look at you guys, it's like, oh, I got to get up, whatever. Stand up, you freaks, come on. All right, so check this out. This is exactly how you function as a human being. So from this point on, you'll never, ever, ever go, why the hell did I do that? How many of you have done that more times than not? You did something stupid and you went, why the hell did I do that again? Raise your hand and don't lie to me. Okay, all of us. Here's why you did what you did, and here's why all of us do what we do. I believe in simplicity. It's, watch this. This is how you function. Whatever you think will cause you to feel something. Whatever you feel will cause you to do something. Whatever you do will cause you to have something. It's think, feel, do, have. Everybody say that. Think, feel, do, have. Now watch this. This is going to be the stupidest thing you've done all day. But the reason we're doing it is because I want you to have it inside your physiology, inside your body, yeah? And that is this. Watch me very closely. It's going to be stupid, but stupid like this is better than ignorance in your unconscious mind. So watch this. As I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. As I do, so I have. Let me show you again because it's your turn next, all right? And some of you are already looking at me like, nope, okay? If you are, you promise to have an open mind, all right? As I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. Shake that ass while you do it, okay? Okay? As I do, so I have. You guys are amazing. I didn't even have to do that a few times. Okay, let's do it again. One more time. One more time. Okay, here we go. Ready? One more time. 1, 2, 3. As I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. As I do, so I have. Now, tomorrow morning when somebody goes, oh, what did you do last night? Guess what you're going to do? Here's what I learned. As I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. As I do, so I have. Give yourselves a hand, you freaks. Come on. Now, go ahead and have a seat. Now, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Because for the rest of your freaking life, as a matter of fact, do I have this here? I'm literally going to program you here for a second, and I'm going to change your life forever, okay? If I still have it, let me make sure I do. Stand by. I don't have it. Ravi, do you guys get any FedExes here? Does anybody have, I'll tell you what, hang on a second. Watch this. Hey Siri, find me an image of the FedEx logo.
To do that, you'll need to be online.
Is anybody online here? Oh, you have one? Yeah, put one up there. Okay. Listen to your smart ass. Damn. Okay. Now, as he finds it and puts it up there, let me ask you guys a question. How many of you have ever seen the FedEx logo? This isn't kindergarten, kids. Raise your hand. How many of you have ever seen the FedEx logo? All of us, okay? No, it's not. I want you to raise your hand for a reason, okay? Did you find it? All right. So we've all seen the FedEx logo. Now, just like what you just did, as I think, so I feel, as I feel, so I do, so do I have, literally, I'm programming your brain, and this is how you do it. You do it with stupid, simple stuff. You got it up there? Okay. Can you take it down when I tell you to? Okay. Look at the logo. All right. Now, take it down. All right. Now, get ready to put it back up. Okay. Which direction does the arrow face? Left or right? How many of you say it goes to the left? How many of you say that it goes to the right? How many of you are going, what arrow? Okay, watch this, because it's for the rest of your life now. Go ahead and put it back up there, okay? It's right there. Now watch, here's what just happened to you. You got a lifelong lesson, because when you went like this, it's mechanics, ladies and gentlemen. You went, oh, and guess what happened to your nervous system? And guess what happened to your unconscious mind? It's there forever, for the rest of your freaking life. Every time you see the FedEx logo, you're never gonna not see that arrow, okay? Thank you. You just got programmed. Wait, we're not done, okay? Take it down, all right? Now watch this. I'm gonna do it again. Is it gone? Okay. Which direction does the spoon face? How many of you are going to the left? How many of you are going to the right? How many of you are going, what freaking spoon? Raise your hand. All right, put it back up. See the spoon? Aha! For the rest of your life. Thank you very much. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. My tech guy. Okay, yes. All right. That's as simple as it can be. And it's the same with as I think, so I feel, so I feel, so I do. So your homework is this. This is one piece of your homework. You're going to practice that over and over again until you can, and teach it to somebody else. Isabel, I want to see this on you guys, your social media. I want to see all this stuff, you doing stupid little dances like that. Because my mentors taught me, you don't know it until you teach it. Teach it, okay? That's how you pass it on, and that's how we function. That's 60% of everything that you do. So if I can teach you how to change how you think about you, the cascading effect is ridiculous, okay? The cascading effect creates what's that growth inside of you, because it becomes an experience. Raise your hand if that makes sense, all right? Now, it's 20% energy. 20% energy. Now, I'm not talking about the get up and go energy. I got to come out my clothes. It's getting hot up here, okay? Okay. I'm not talking about the get up and go energy, that kind of thing. I'm talking about this. I'm talking about electricity. That's it. When I say energy, it's electricity. Now, understand this. We are human beings, and what gives us life, how they monitor your life, what's going on inside of you, there's something called an EEG machine, electroencephalograph. And what that is it measures the current, the electricity that goes through you. And we are charged with the food that we eat. We're charged with the sun. And guess what makes our energy ebb and flow? Guess what makes our energy rise and fall? I'll give you a hint. As I think, okay? It's whatever you're thinking in that moment will cause you to, and most of us think, okay, well, where does thought come from? I can do something, and I just did, that makes you go, ah, and if I put an EEG machine on you, when you went, ah, your electricity is higher. It's that simple. So it is this simple. When you get ready to do something, whether you want to attract something to you or you want to do anything at all, you got to get up early, you got to stay up late, you got to do something extra, then guess what? Change how you think in that moment. Watch, this is very difficult. It's really complicated, but watch this. It's going to be so complicated that some of you are not going to be able to do it. You want to know how you can change your electricity in the instant? Watch. I'll see if I can do it. Want to see it again? Watch. Now look at you right now. How many of you feel pretty good right now, by the way? Okay? If I could hook you up to EEG, or I could see your aura, whatever, you'd be glowing with electricity. And because you're glowing with electricity, that's energy. And the more energy that you have, the more, here's your last 20%, magnetism you have. It's 60% psychology, 20% energy, and 20% magnetism. And it works like this. As I think, whenever you're feeling, you got the energy, right? Because if you're thinking something crappy, then guess what? Your energy is going to be low. If you're scared of something, your energy is going to be low, right? But if you're thinking something positive expectancy, I'm going to make this money, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to meet this person, I'm going to do whatever, then your energy is going to be high. You have more electricity going through you. Now watch this. Did I bring them? Yes, I did. Ooh, and how am I going to do this? All right. Now watch this. Remember, the last 20% is magnetism. It's not the laws of attraction. The laws of attraction imply, and by the way, I'm not throwing it under the bus or putting any shade on it. It's just that it's only one of the laws. But the laws of attraction imply that you're attracting something to you. Yes? I want this money. I want this car. I want this situation. I want this circumstance. I want that. And we are trained to think and to believe, which is true, that the more I think about it and the more I focus on that, the more I'm going to bring that towards me, which is true. But how many of you, when something has been coming towards you and it looks good, you got distracted or you screwed up and you sabotaged yourself? Raise your hand. So the laws of attraction are doing just that. It's attracting something to you. Yeah, we can do that all day long. But if you're not attracted to it, if you're not going towards it, and it is not that you're pushing, you are. It's not that you're pushing that away. It's not that you're attracting bad stuff in your life. It's literally that you're pushing that away. If you don't have the electricity, the energy that you are moving towards it as well, then what happens is it's moving away from you because it feels your electricity. And electricity works a couple ways. There's a negative and there's a positive always. Not some of the time, not most of the time, all of the time. But watch this. Now, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this so that you see this, but I have two magnets. Does anybody have like an ink pen that I can borrow that has like a little metal clip on it? Is yours? You can throw it. Yes, it does. Okay, so watch this. I have two magnets here. Now, I'm literally going to walk through because I don't have a, usually I could show it on the screen. But these two magnets, now, by the way, how do you make a magnet? Anybody know? Aren't you glad I showed up here today? Because just like the spoon and just like the arrow, you're going to have an aha moment here right now. Watch this. Here's how you make a magnet. You take a piece of steel or take a piece of iron and you bombard it with what? Electricity, electrons. That's it. Now, everything on the planet, not some of the things, not most of the things, all of the things. The air we breathe, the whatever the hell this stuff is here, palm trees or whatever, everything is made up of the same three things, the basic elements. Neutrons, protons, and what? Electrons. Electrons, electricity. So if you bombard really anything with electrons, it's going to become more magnetic, right? Now, a magnet will stay a magnet forever until you demagnetize it. Human beings, yes, but yours ebbs and flows. And I'm going to tell you how that happens here. But watch this. These are very powerful magnets. If I take these magnets and I hold them right here, they're always going to do that, right? Why? Because these are magnets. And what do magnets attract? Better. Other magnets, you freaks. Think about it. By the way, when I say you freaks, I mean that lovingly, all right? And you are a freak. I mean, think about this. Everybody else out there, they're doing their thing, and you are freaky enough to come up here to Ravi's place and be here sitting on mats listening to this goofy guy, okay? So, but what you might think as I do this, that this magnet is going towards that magnet. But literally, now I'm going to do it. I'll have to drop them when I do it. They're both moving towards each other, all right? And that's what you want. But here's the deal. Now, how am I going to do this? All right, so those of you that can see this, don't worry, I'll come to your table here in a moment, all right? Watch this. So if I take these magnets and I put them down on this table, I put them close to each other, watch this. They're both moving towards each other. I'm going to come back there and show everybody, right? They're both moving towards each other. But watch this, okay? Now, by the way, it's not just this one, it's both of them. They're moving towards each other. But watch this. If I turn this magnet over, watch what happens. It pushes it away, okay? Did you guys see that? All right, so you guys saw that? All right. Hi, kids. Okay. So I'll do it over here. If I take these magnets and I hold them together, they're both moving towards each other. You guys can see this, right? But if I take this one and I move it over, guess what it's doing? It's pushing that one away. It's called changing the polarity. I'm coming to you guys next, all right? Did you guys see it? Okay, great, all right? You ready? All right? So if I take these magnets, I'm going to go like that. They're going to move towards each other. But if I flip this one over, it's going to move it away. Not some of the time, not most of the time. Don't worry, I didn't forget about you guys, all right? Yeah, it'll do it on here as well. Watch, okay? Okay, so if I put them together, they're like that. But if I flip it over, it's going to, whoops. Okay, it's not going to do it on a smooth surface. It's going to move it around. And by the way, even if I will do it over here, everybody, hope you can see this. Even if I push them together, watch what happens. I can force them together when it's flipped over, but it pushes it away, okay? I can push them together all I want, which is what most of us do. It's called, I'm on the grind, Joseph. How many of you have said that bullshit before, all right? I'm on the grind, I'm on the grind. Nobody wants to grind. You don't want to grind. You do it because you believe that that's what gets you what you want. But most of us have seen, here's your pen backs. Oh, you know what I didn't do? The reason I got this is because I can take this ink pen and I can put it up against it, but it won't do the same thing, right? Because this isn't a magnet. This isn't magnetized. And even when I put it on there, I can shake it off because it's not going to stick there. Thank you. Okay. Does this make sense? Ravi, keep me honest on time. I don't even know what time I started. Okay. By the way, I've been doing this all morning long. Seriously, I started a virtual seminar at my house at 4:30 this morning. Yeah, and oh, don't give me that. That was not that it's not that impressive, okay? I started 4:30 this morning. I worked till 3, and I got in the car and came up here. Ravi and I have been trying to do this for a long time, so I'm glad I get to be here. So, having said that, guess what happens with you based on what I just showed you, okay? Remember what I said before? Those magnets will stay magnets forever. And you are a magnet. And evidence of everything works under magnetism is, watch this. This works every single time. I don't care if it's a magnet. I don't care if it's your ink pen. I don't care if it's your silly ass. It's always going to do that. It's called gravity. The earth is the biggest magnet that you know. The earth that's called gravity. And it doesn't just attract steel. It attracts everything. Well, guess what you are? You are the same thing. You're just like a planet. You're a planet that attracts everything to it. But you have the ability to magnetize other things. That's all the earth is doing. You think the earth is just pulling you towards it? No, it is, you're being pulled towards it. How many of you want to keep your feet on the ground? How many of you want to stay anchored to the ground? You know it. It's in your unconscious mind that, wait a minute, this is what happens. If I put this foot down, I go. I stay there the whole time. There's not a one of you that worries about floating off into space because you are a magnet to the earth. Does this make sense? Okay? Now, having said that, I'm going really fast now because I know I've got to get out of here at a certain time. Having said that, what makes you more magnetic is what you think. The thoughts of possibility, the thoughts of whatever you're going to get, whatever your thoughts are. And thinking is just this. The words that you say and the pictures that you make in your mind. Don't make it any more complicated than that. That's it. That's it. And you're even doing that right now. You're going, is that true? And you're making pictures in your mind. And it never stops. You never shut the hell up, even when you go to sleep. Your brain is doing what? Yak, 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 and making pictures. And your body, check this out, cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's not when you vividly imagine it. It can't tell the difference. But here's the fun part, kids, is neither can whatever the hell it is that you want to attract into your life. It can't help it. Raise your hand if this has ever happened to you, just to prove that you're a badass and it already works with you. You're sitting in your car, your music is turned on, the windows are rolled up, and you feel somebody looking at you, and you look over, and there they are looking at you. Raise your hand if that's happened to you. All of us. Or you're sitting in your car, and you look over, and you see maybe an attractive person, and you're just, looking at that person for whatever reason, and they feel you looking at them and they catch you. And now you're going. And what do you always do every single time? This is you. When they catch you, you go. And I'm joking around about it, but that's real, yeah? But let me tell you what happens and why you look away and what happens when that goes on. Remember, our level of energy, our level of electricity is dependent on whatever we think. When we say emotion, that's all it is. Your emotion is going to carry with it an electrical charge, okay? Happiness carries a different electrical charge than sadness or negativity or pissed offedness. I just made that word up, all right? So here's what happens. When you put your attention and intention, we're using a person for now, but it's synonymous with anything. Material, situations, circumstances, whatever it is. When you put your attention and intention on somebody else, in this case, 4 things happen. Not sometimes, not most of the time, all the time. The first thing that happens, as soon as you do, your electromagnetic field, called your aura, if you will, we're in California, right? And if you don't believe me, go online and look up Carillion photography. They literally have a camera that can take a picture of the electromagnetic field that you put out, and it ebbs and flows with, guess what? What you're thinking. When you get uncertain, when you get scared, it shrinks. When you get curious, when you get excited, when you have positive expectancy, it grows. So the first thing that happens when you look at somebody, that's curiosity, right? So what happens to your energy? It grows. The second thing that happens is they feel it. They could be across. How many of you have ever done this? You're thinking about something, somebody, and the phone rings and it's them. Right? Same thing. They feel it. Or it feels it, whatever you want to say. Okay? The third thing that happens is because they feel it, they get what? Curious. What is that? Now, they're not thinking it consciously. They get curious. So the third thing that happens is their electromagnetic energy grows. And now you have 2 magnets. And what do we just see magnets do? Fourth thing is they become attracted to each other. All right? Now, first off, does this make sense? Raise your hand if this makes sense. Okay? Now, what happens when you look at that person and you catch each other, your internal dialogue about yourself, other people, or the world around you kicks in. And the number one fear of human beings is, guess what? The fear of rejection. And so guess what? As soon as, say, we look at somebody else and that person catches us looking, instantly our brain goes, what do we think about ourselves? What do we think about other people? What do we think about the world around us? And it goes, she might be thinking I'm being creepy, okay? Or I'm stalking, or there's something wrong with me, or I'm not good enough, or whatever goes through your mind in that instant, because thoughts happen in an instant. And what happens is your electricity gets shut off. You flip the magnet over and you push that away. Does that make sense? Because the same thing happens to that other person as well. They may go, oh, fuck you. They may not be saying that out loud, but that might be what's going on inside their head. Raise your hand if this makes sense, okay? So we're dancing like that constantly. Constantly. Our brain is going flip-flop back. Good enough, not good enough. I want this, I want that, I want it. It's flip-flop all the time. Wow. Here's the cool part, is that we have the ability to change, not just in the moment, because we can all do that. You can go from unresourceful, unhappy to happy just by putting a smile on your face. Most of us are waiting for something else to come along before we do that, or we put ourselves on the grind to make ourselves, I'm going to be determined today, I'm going to go after this, and so on and so forth. But for most people, it doesn't work, and it's too much work to do. It is why right now, at least in the United States and really around the world, there's some terrible things happening in the world all over. Well, I don't have to tell you that. But it is why right now, mental health has never been more than it is. Poor mental health has never been more than it is right now in the history of mankind. Oh, don't get me started. Because here's what happens. Whenever we get uncomfortable, whenever we go into that place where we shut that magnetism down, and we have that conversation going on inside of our head, our energy goes down, our electricity goes down, we push things away. And unfortunately, we have been conditioned to run to comfort. And guess how far away your comfort is? How many of you have a cell phone? Be honest, how many of you bring this bitch with you into the toilet? If you don't, God bless you, but most of us do. And it is designed to shut off your reasoning and shut off your magnetism. There's never been more opportunity than there ever has been in the history of man right now. But there's never been more lack in terms of our mental health than there ever has been in the history of mankind. And this is fact. This isn't just me saying this. Look it up. This crazy new thing that all the kids are using called the internet, and you can check it out. Okay. The truth of the matter is that, and I'm going to tell you a real quick story, and then we're going to do something so I can prove to you, or you can prove to you, that what I'm saying is true. And what I mean by that is that you can not only change how you are feeling in the moment, but you can condition yourself so that it becomes your automatic default. Whether it's your thoughts, and again, mostly your thoughts about yourself that you don't even know. And by the way, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. When somebody comes in and they got a fear of dogs, I don't have to know how they got afraid of dogs. I don't have to know that. And I never go for that. We just deal with what's there right there. And it's not squashing it and pushing it under the rug, as you'll see here in a second. So, and the reason I say this is that and I use this only as an example because it's this, or it's alcohol, or it's weed, or it is whatever your crutch is that makes you comfortable when you're uncomfortable. When it's time to go work out and you don't, you're suffering from what I call the thieves of our dreams. And there are these 10 things. Matter of fact, raise your hand if these things affect your life. And by the way, you can go get this stuff. I'm going to tell you where you can go get it. You can go online and find it. I've got on my, I think it's on my Instagram. I'll tell you where you can get it. But watch this. Raise your hand if these things affect your life. I call them the 10 thieves of our dreams. Procrastination, hesitation, fear of failure, fear of success, self-doubt, self-loathing, imposter syndrome, fear of rejection, stress, and overwhelm. Raise your hand if those bitches are in your life, okay? They are. That's what stops you. And every single one of them is a fear, and every single one of them flips your magnet over. So it's not, because people ask me this all the time, Joseph, if the laws of attraction are, I bring about what I think about, does that mean when I think negative things, am I bringing negative stuff into my life? How many of you have ever wondered that? Okay? Most people, it's like when we think about it, it's like, okay, well, I'd rather not think of anything. Because it's so easy to go there. But check this out. Here's what I want you to understand. That's not true. It's not that you're attracting bad stuff in your life. Bad stuff's going to happen. I'm sorry to tell you. That's just the way life is. But what you are doing is pushing what you want away. That's it. Remember that. You're not a bad person because you're thinking bad thoughts. That happens. And we're trained to do that. All you're doing is because you're looking over here, you're demagnetizing yourself and you're demagnetizing it. Does that make sense? Okay. So about 20 years ago now, maybe 15, 20 years ago, I was hired, and I can't tell you the name of the company because I signed an NDA with some of my clients and people that I work with. But I was hired by a syndicated cable company who now is one of the largest streaming companies in the world. In case you don't know, most of you do, I mean, this is Hollywood, I mean this is LA, that there were only, 20 years ago, there were only a handful of companies that made their own content, that made their own movies, that made their own TV shows, and so on and so forth. The rest of them, they would buy those shows from those people, and they would put them on their platform. In those days, it was cable. And that was it. So this particular company, which was a cable company to begin with, said, we want to start creating our own content, but we'd like to hire you to go in and study what makes these other companies so successful in what they're doing, because we want to apply that psychology and methodology to how we create films and TV shows. And I said, okay, and I did. And I went in and I studied, and I came up with 12, actually there's more, but 12 what I call markers that manipulate you. And they're in your phone, by the way, just so you know. When I tell you this, you're going to go, those bastards, okay? But there's 12 of them. I'm going to give you just 2 of them that are obvious. We all know of a cliffhanger, yes? Okay? In case you don't know, here's what happens. Let's say it's something like Dances with Stars or something like this. And it's, by the way, it's in every commercial. It's in everything that you see. And it's one of the things, and what it does, you know what this is designed to do? You know what television is designed to do? And this isn't a knock on television, by the way. This isn't a knock on actors. Some of my best friends or good friends are actors and in the industry, and I don't say that. I'm just saying that for you to be able to step away from it and put this down for a minute so that you can start focusing on what you want, you need to understand this. That is designed to keep you doing what? Watching the screen. That's it. And afraid not to watch the screen. That you're going to miss something. That's why you take it with you into the toilet. You don't need your cell phone to go to the toilet. You don't, okay? How many of you have got to go, oh, I got to go, oh, my cell phone, okay? And so the cliffhanger is this. It's really simple. What they do, Dances with Stars, right? They got 5 couples up there. And they go, tonight, one couple is going home. The end of their journey with Dances of the Stars, with the Stars, ends tonight. And they're not going to go tomorrow. Their bags are already packed. Everybody's bags are packed. As soon as the announcement comes down, they get their shit and they go. Now, what are you doing? You're going, okay, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? You're what? You're curious, yeah? Remember we already talked about curiosity. But you're a different kind of curious. It's called expectancy of unfortunateness. In other words, you know something bad's getting ready to happen to somebody, okay? And so you're going, what? Who is it? Who is it? I bet it's him. I bet it's him. I hope it's not my person, okay? And they go, the couple, and they talk this slow. Look, and while they're doing this, it's, the music is going dun 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 dun. Okay. The couple that is going to be safe tonight is couple number, and then they show all of them, and they're all going, and they're hugging each other and everything, and then they go, is couple number 3. And then when couple number 3 go, they go, oh, yes, and they go over. And they hug all the other poor bastards that are sitting there waiting, right? Because they know they're still on the chopping block. And they do that over and over till they get down to the last 2. And then what do? They say it again. The couple that is going home tonight. The couple that is, no, they say the couple that's going to be safe tonight. The couple that gets to stay and go through the others, they got to pack their stuff. It's already packed. They're out of here. And everybody has done a great job here. And we want to thank everybody, make sure that everybody's done everything. You know what I'm doing right now. I'm doing it right now, right? And they go, the couple that's safe. It comes down to it. And then they flash the 2 couples. And now all 4 couples are like hugging each other, like, like what are those little prairie rats? What do they call them? That, they're holding on to each other going like this. And you're going, oh, hope it's not my people. I hope it's not me. It leaves my person safe, but whatever. But you're still concerned, right? And they go, okay, the couple that is going to be safe tonight is... We're going to let you know as soon as we do this commercial break, okay? Now, what happens to you? You're afraid to leave. You've got sphincter pucker so bad that you're stuck to your seat, right? Most of you don't even leave for the commercial. And guess what they do on the commercial? It's the same thing. And I'm not going to go into it, but the commercial's the same thing. It's just like they get you excited, show you the product. Get you excited, show you the product. Get you excited, show you the product. Then they move on to something else. And the whole time, you're getting fed all of this stuff. That's number 1. Raise your hand if you understand a cliffhanger now, okay? Great. All right, so another one is this. I just want you to know that you are being trained, and I'm here to detrain you, if that's a word, okay? How many of you have a favorite sitcom? Raise your hand. Could be anything. This isn't a knock, okay? And let's just use one, for example, like, say, Friends or Seinfeld or any of them. Start to finish, any of them. Let me ask you this question. When you're watching your favorite sitcom, how many times have you ever, in that 28 or 27 minutes, have you ever gone, Never. Every once in a while you might go, that's cute, that's funny. But guess what is happening and some of you that are in the industry know that the dialogue goes in beats. It goes da da da, da 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 da, and then what happens at the end of that? Canned laughter. Raging canned laughter. And then it goes down and they go da da da, da 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 da, da da da. Canned laughter like crazy. You're not laughing. It's not funny. Half that time, if they take the canned laughter out, it's not funny. Especially not funny enough for you to bust out laughing. but they're training you because you're expecting, so you know what's coming up. Does this make sense? It's a marker. It is designed. And everything, that's only 2. There's actually 24 total. There's 12 main ones. But that's what this does all day long. You live in a space of fear that you're going to miss something. And fear flips your magnet over. Does this make sense? Okay. So I want to teach you something, and then we're going to open up for Q&A. By the way, you guys having a good time? Fabulous, okay? I want to teach you something, and the reason what I'm going to teach you is that you get to use to train yourself to snap the hell out of it so that it happens automatically. And what I mean by snap it out of it, I do podcasts all the time. I have my own podcast when people invite me on their shows, and it's kind of like a normal podcast question. And the question is, Joseph, what would you say to your younger self? And I always say the same thing. I would say, Joseph, learn how to snap the hell out of it quicker. Snap the hell out of what? Going down those rabbit holes of negativity, going down those rabbit holes that we don't even know. But everything that you do, drive a car, ride a bicycle, anything that you've done, you're good at it because you have done it over and over again. So what I'm going to show you is when you do it over and over again, you'll just get it. First, I'm going to tell you it's something called a pattern interrupt. Pattern interrupt is very, very simple. It's one of the basic things that I use in neuroencoding to get a change, not later, right now. How many of you have ever done this? You're sitting on your couch, you're watching television, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I need to go in the kitchen and get an ink pen or something. And you stand up and you walk into the kitchen, and there you are in the kitchen going, what the hell did I come in here for? Raise your hand if that's happened to you. All of us. All of us. Now, it wasn't because you smoked too much weed in college. It wasn't anything like that, or there's anything going on in your brain. It's because you interrupted your pattern. You're in a pattern of a physical body. Your body is a certain pattern. You're thinking a certain thing, and you're saying something to yourself a certain way. Okay? So you are being ink pen in this moment. As soon as you stand up, 3 things happen. As soon as your pattern, it doesn't just have to be standing up. It can be anything. Sometimes it can be a phone call. It can be something else, whatever. But standing up is what we're going to use here today. Okay? As soon as you do, 3 things happen. Number 1, you're no longer here. You're no longer in that physiology, so you're no longer thinking about the ink pen. Second thing that happens is you create what's called a scotoma. A scotoma is just a blank spot in your brain. Third thing that happens is that scotoma, just like that, turns into what I call a mental vacuum. And what does nature always want to do with a vacuum? Fill it up, always. So guess what? You can use that, and it's what I use. If you're in a certain state, and as soon as you stand up, you create that blank spot, then that vacuum is my opportunity to put whatever I want in there. And guess what I've been doing with you this whole time? I've been doing that with you. I ask you a question. I want you to know what I'm doing because this is what I teach, by the way. This is my legacy, what I'm teaching now. I teach neuroencoding. And this is just a piece of it. But all I'm doing is I ask you a question, you go like that, and guess what? I interrupt your pattern, and then I tell you the answer. I did it with FedEx. I did it with everything that I'm doing. I don't want there to be any secrets. I'm not manipulating you. I'm just doing what works. Okay? So when you come into my office, you got a fear of dogs? It's a true story. I don't know why LA had so many people that's afraid of dogs. I have a friend, well, the dog has passed away since then, but he had a Rottweiler. The Rottweiler looked like just the nastiest, meanest thing you could possibly imagine. But it was just a sweetheart. If you came into the room, that dog would jump up and run after you and jump on you and lick you and just love on you. But I would rent my friend's dog, and I'd chain him up to my office in my office. I put one of those big spike collars on him. In case you haven't done this, it's funny as hell. You're going to do this. How many of you have a dog? Okay? You're going to do this tonight. Get your dog and either put peanut butter or a little bit of toothpaste on the roof of their mouth, because their mouth is like wedges like that, and they go, and they foam at the mouth. It's freaking hilarious, okay? So I get the dog and I put the dog in the room. Now, before I get this person in the room, I've done something that I don't have time to teach you now called anchoring, which means I can cause him to feel good. I can cause him or her to feel ecstatic. I can put an anchor on him, okay? So I have that, and whatever I do to them, they're going to feel ecstatic in that moment. So what I do is I walk them in the room, they see the dog jumps up, looks at him, foaming at the mouth, and starts running after him, dragging my desk behind him. Now, what does the person do? It's their worst nightmare, right? The person goes, oh, and they as soon as that happens, they start to look to go to run away, and guess who's there with a glass of ice cold water and one of those horns, those air horns? So I throw the water on him and I hit the horn, right? And guess what? He's no longer worried about the dog. He's pissed off at me. And he's going, well, what'd you do that for? And then I anchor him because I have that hole, right? And then I anchor him and then he doesn't know what's going on. And then the dog's getting a little closer and he goes, ah! And I throw some more water on him and hit the horn. I do that just a few times and guess what? He doesn't know what to think. But now the dog is here loving on him, right? And now he's fine. As simple as that is. Now, there was a little bit more to it, but I just wanted you to understand how powerful a pattern interrupt. Are you ready to do it for yourselves? Okay, here's what I want you to do. Two things. I want you to think of something right now that causes you to feel bad. I don't care what it is. Think about whatever it is. Anything. Whatever it is. Now, notice what happened to most of you. Look at me for a second. Most of you went like this. That's what feeling bad looks like. Remember what I showed you feeling good looks like? Okay. This is what feeling bad looks like. So now you're in a pattern of that. Think about that. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to rate that. On a scale from 1 to 10, you don't have to tell me out loud, but notice how bad that feels. And it took you an instant to think about it. Now, all I want you to do is stand up. Just stand up. Everybody stand up. You too, come on, stand up. It's an equal opportunity place, okay? Nobody left behind. All I want you to do is this. I want you to look up in the sky, okay? And put a big smile on your face. Big smile on your face. Don't mess with me here. Put a big smile on your face. Keep that big smile on your face. Breathe deeply. Drop your hands to your side. Breathe deeply. Keep the smile on your face. Now, without removing that smile, without not breathing deeply, keep that smile on your face and get as depressed as you were a while ago. Why are you laughing? Raise your hand if you can't do it, okay? Look up here for a second. Your body, remember what I said? Think, feel, do, have. It's the other way. It's all the way around. Your body will cause you to feel and think as well. It's impossible for you to feel bad while you're looking up with a smile on your face. You can't do it. That's how your body works. That's how your body works. Now watch this. Everybody have a seat. First off, give yourselves a hand because you did what you said. You're playing along. Now, if you just did that over and over again, which is called feel bad, feel good, feel bad, feel good, feel bad, then guess what? Feeling bad will trigger you to feel good. Okay? Now, all I want you to do is I'm going to give you some homework. Okay? I want you to write this down. All right? Here's the formula, and here's the homework for you. The formula is this, and then we're going to open up for Q&A if you have questions. And don't be shy, by the way. Here's the formula to replace your pattern. Number 1, feel bad on purpose. What does that mean? I'm going to give you the schedule to do it. That means how many of you meditate? Dumb question to ask around here, right? Okay. How long do you take to meditate? Some of you do an hour, or 10 minutes, or whatever. This is going to take you 5 minutes to do what I'm going to tell you to do. You already know how to feel bad. You did it. It's called like this. Okay. Or, looking at your phone or whatever. Okay. Feel bad on purpose. Don't wait. Okay? Because here's what most of us do. We wait until we feel bad to try and do something about it. This is called kill the monster while it's a baby. So I want you to practice feeling bad and snapping out of it. So feel bad on purpose. Number 2, interrupt your pattern. How do you interrupt your pattern? I'll let you write it down. Okay? How you interrupt your pattern is you just stand up. Okay? You can shake yourself out, you just stand up. Because just like I said before, when you stand up, you're no longer in that. It might not be radical at first, but you're no longer there. And in that instant, you go to step number 3, feel good on purpose. How many of you remember how to feel good? That's right. Smile on your face. You just proved it. Put a smile on your face. Because here's what happens. As soon as you smile, you got 80 different muscles on your face. It's the largest concentration of muscles on your whole body, second only to your hand. 80 different muscles. And every expression that you make causes your brain to release different chemicals and hormones. And when you smile, it releases dopamine, endorphins, oxytocin, which are the great hormones that make you feel good. So if you feel bad, and then you interrupt your pattern, create that scotoma, and then you smile or do whatever it is to feel good, then guess what? That vacuum that is open there in a moment gets flooded with all the good stuff. And your brain is not going to question. It's just going to take it because it's a vacuum. Look, if you can't swim and you and I are on a boat and you accidentally fall overboard and you're drowning and you're going down for the last time and I'm still on board and I have a red life preserver and a green life preserver and you're going, oh, help, help. And I grab the red one and I throw it to you and it lands right there in front of you. But you don't like red, okay? Or you're going to go, no, I want the green one. No, you're going to grab whatever I throw in there. So when you smile and you feel good in that moment, your brain is going to grab it and take it in, and it's going to replace that bad feeling, as well as the dopamine that goes through your system. Step number 4 is celebrate. Celebrate. And this is key and this is strong because it is the thing. And in this group, I imagine that it's less, but how many of you are members of the Self-Beaters Club? You know what I'm talking about. Even when you're successful at something, you go, I should have done it better. Or Ravi did it better than me. Or whatever. And you beat yourself up over it. That's like when the baby turns around for the first time and goes to the parents, goes, Ma. Do the parents go, what an idiot. The word is mother, you little jackass. Unbelievable. Other kids can say mother. You're a year and a half old, you little asshole. Come on, say it. They don't do that. What do? The baby doesn't have to get it right. They go, oh my God. Oh God, you said mama. Yes. Yes, good girl, here's a cookie. Now, they may not do that, but what do? They praise the baby. They celebrate the baby. And the baby's nervous system learns that all I have to do is just try. I don't have to get it right. I just try. And these freaks are going to go crazy. And that's what we're here for, is for freaks to go crazy. But the freaks we're talking about is a freak that's inside your own head. So you start rewarding yourself when you start praising yourself. Repetition is the mother of all skill. Well, guess what the father is? Praise. Praise yourself. How do you do it? Pat yourself on the back. Shake your ass. Go, I freaking rock. Whatever it is. And then do it again. That's it. Those 4 steps. Feel bad. Interrupt your pattern by standing up. Smile. Reward yourself. So pick one thing. Here's your homework. You got 2 pieces of homework. Here's the first one. As I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. As I do, so I have. I want you to do that 10 times a day for the next 10 days. And then I want you to choose something that causes you to feel bad. Whatever it is. Just one thing. Because I promise you, by day number 3, you're not going to be able to feel it. And not because I'm doing something, because you're doing it. And guess what? It has a global effect. It has an effect on everything else in your life. You start to become because by the way, this is the shortcut to change your psychology. It's a shortcut. Now there's so much more I can teach you, but I don't have any more time, as a matter of fact, because I think Robbie told me I got to shut up here soon, but I want to take some questions, okay? And so, yes.
My friend, she was just asking me today about that she wants to do something she's doing, but there is something more than that, and she's tired of waiting for that.
So she said her friend wants to do something, and she's pointing you out. I think it was you or her, okay? Yeah. She wants to do something, and by the way, you're not alone, because watch. How many of you want to do something, but you're tired of waiting, and you're doing what I call ready, aim, ready, aim, ready, aim, ready, aim. Raise your hand if you do that, okay? That's procrastination, okay? Procrastination. You can use this process that I'm talking about, and there's so much more. I'm going to send you somewhere to you guys going to have a look and see if this is something you might want to do, something you might want to study. Because listen, as arrogant as this is going to sound, I've been doing this for almost 40 years now, almost 40 years. And in that amount of time, I've easily spent over $250,000, maybe even $300,000 on certifications, my education, and all those things like that. The people that I've found that win and the people that I've found that are successful are people that stay in the game, that are always doing something. And just this man right here, Ravi, you're in the game right now. He's provided a sanctuary for you to be in the game as much as you want to. Be in the game, learn more. So use this process there. Let's take a couple more questions and then you want me to get the hell off of here. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
I have a question. So when we send energy out, that means we want it. What is the energetic point on the other side that brings it to us? What was it that you said?
Oh, whatever you want. And by the way, I didn't say this. Thank you for the question. Her question is, when we send in energy out, what is the energetic point on the other end? It's whatever you want. I said this in the very beginning. I'm so sorry I didn't say. I know what you want. And remember, this is the number one thing. If you don't have this, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get what you want. You got to know what you want. Guess what you want? Now watch what happens when I say this word. You want to be wealthy, okay? What happened to you? Did your little butt pucker up like that when you went, oh, it's not money, Joseph. What happened to you, okay? But watch this, because your unconscious mind has an uncertainty about what wealthy is, but I'm going to change that forever. And here in just like maybe 20 seconds, you're going to go, he's right. Unbelievable. That's what I want. Here's what wealthy is. To be healthy, happy, and financially abundant. Am I right or wrong? Raise your hand if I'm right. Because everything else underneath that, whether it's your car, okay, that falls under financial abundance. You got to have money to buy there. Whether it's your relationship, that falls under happiness. Whether it is your energy, that comes under your health. That's what you want. And so when you have it that simple, when you go, okay, wait a minute, this is what I want. What's on the other end, where that energy goes, is whatever it is that you decide it is. If it's money, you say, it's this much money. If it's the relationship, it's this. You've got to get specific on it. I'm going to tell you something, and this is how we work as human beings, because remember, everything's mechanical. I told you I grew up in that hellhole called Lancaster, okay? It is flat desert out there. Desert. You could drive for 50 miles without any stop signs once you get outside of town. And 2 or 3 times, 4 or 5 times a year, it used to puzzle me that people would be driving out in the middle of nowhere and they'd lose control of their car and they'd run into telephone poles. And I couldn't figure it out because a telephone pole is only this wide and they're 30 yards in between each other. Why do they hit and by the way, they did aerial photographs and they showed that 90% of the skid marks that went off went right into the telephone pole. If you had 30 yards to miss something that was going to wreck your freaking day, and by the way, they always said the same thing. Last thing I saw was the pole. I didn't want to hit the pole. Why did they hit the pole? Because they were looking at it. Forget focus. It's because they were looking at it. The answer to your question is what's on the other end is whatever you're looking at. Whatever you decide it is. That's number one. Number one. I don't care what it is. Yes, you got to work on yourself. Yeah, you got to do all that stuff. But here's what happens when you go, I'm only going to use money for an example. I want money. Then your brain goes, you never had money, okay? You got to work hard for it, or you're too smart, you're too dumb, you're too whatever, all that stuff. That's just your psychology. So you got to do that. You go, I want this, and see what happens when inside of you. And anything that negative, any of those 10 thieves that come up, destroy them. Destroy them. Because see, we're not brushing it under the table or squashing it down. We're literally opening it up and putting it in the same way it got there. Okay? Let's take 2 more questions, then we got to get out of here. I know I don't, but anybody else? Yes. Come up closer. I can't hear. Oh, the 10 things. Okay. I'm going to tell you what they are, but then I'll tell you where you can go find them. Okay. They're called the thieves of our dreams. They are procrastination, hesitation, fear of failure, fear of success, self-doubt, I'm sorry, I'd say it faster than I can, sorry. Procrastination, fear of success, self-doubt, self-sabotage, fear of rejection, stress, overwhelm, and uncertainty. Okay? All of those things, those are the thieves of our dreams. Now I was telling you, I've got all the social media skills of a slightly retarded circus pig. So I have a team that does this, and I'll instruct them to put this up there. It'll be up there maybe tomorrow or the next day. You can go there on my Instagram. It's I am, and then my name, Joseph McClendon. If you go there, it's a plethora of stuff there. Even some of the stuff that I talked about now, there's always something there for you. So you can have those things, but here's what I want you to do. I don't want you to focus on those things. Even though you have them there, that's just awareness. Those are the things that we all have. There's not a person on the planet that doesn't deal with those things. The outcome is to go, what do I want within that, not confines, within that definition of healthiness, happiness, and financially abundant. Figure out exactly what it is. Listen to me, everybody. The reason I had you do this, write down, what you write is what you invite. I learned from Napoleon Hill years ago that when you write something down, it is literally becoming, it's a material thing. And what do all material things do? They attract things to it. Okay? What you write is what you invite. Okay, so I need to go. Listen, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for the gift of your time. And please, again, you can go to my Instagram or whatever, check it out. And also, if you go there, also write this down. There's a new word for you. So you got a couple words. Wealthiness, you got, all those things. It's called neuro encoding, Neuro encoding, encoding.com. I teach this stuff. There's so much more to it. And look up here for a second, everybody. At the risk of sounding too noble, the world is in a crazy place right now. It really is. It always has been. And Rav and I were talking about this before. It always has been, but never crazier than it is right now. And those of us that dare to dream while the rest of the world is having a nightmare, and they are. You're not only going to create the abundance that you want for yourself. That's a given. But the greatest part about it is that you're going to be a shining example of possibility for other people. And the world needs leaders, and the world needs people that have a passion for going out there and changing other people's lives. That's why I do what I do, and I invite you to do it as well. If this interests you, go check it out and see if that's something you want to do. I appreciate you. God bless you, and I love you. Thank you.
just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather, beautiful world. We share a special, so fucking special. Forever. but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell I'm doing here? I don't belong here. She's running out through the door. She's running out. She's run, run, she's Thank you. If I say to you, think about you, I think about you, and I'm still an empty place. I'm waiting for you, waiting for you. When my heart is bleeding out, when my soul lost light, all my love open and down, give it all to you. Still rounded space, hold it for you, I keep it for you, and it was like a good dream. Need to wake up, we need to wake up. When my heart is bleeding out, when my soul lost light, all my love open and down, give it all to you. Hold me tight, 'cause I'm falling down. It's now never, but I feel no falling, feel no falling. Squeeze my hand and keep it close to your heart, and we are falling, we are falling. If I say to you, I think about you, I think about you, and I'm still an empty place. I'm waiting for you, waiting for you. When my heart is Squeeze my hand and keep it close to your heart, and we are falling, we are falling. See the stars set in your eyes. See the thorn twist in your side. And I wait for you. Sleight of hand and twist of fate. Bed of nails, she makes me wait. And I wait without you. With or without you. With or without you. Through the storm, we reached the shore. You gave it all, but I want more. And I wait for you. With or without you. With or without you. I could live with or without you. And you give yourself away. And you give yourself away. And you give, and you give, and you give yourself away. Hands are tight, my body grows. She cut me away. Nothing will, and nothing left to lose. And you give yourself away. And you give yourself away. And you give, and you give, and you give yourself away. With or without you. With or without you. I could live. With or without Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Joseph. Thank you. I appreciate. Please, please, when you're happy and you say thank you, stand up and smile up. See, we learn. I was listening. So, first of all, thank you so much, everybody. And we're going now to the next stage that I'm looking forward so much, and I'm so excited about it. And like, if you study with us the Bending Reality, you know that we went through the Kybalion and the Hermetism and all that. And you know that every step of the way, every time I bring you something about Kabbalah and I show you how the here and now and all those things falling into it and all the studies that you know, the enthusiasm and the inspiration that I got from it is by studying that right from the beginning. And like I told you, and I mentioned it many, many times about Rabbi Berg and all that is done to really bring this light to this world. And with that said, I am so excited that we have now Yehuda Berg with us, the son of Rabbi Berg. And he was so kind. He was in Israel, actually. He didn't come because of me from Israel, but he was in Israel. He just arrived 1 or 2 weeks ago and is here to share with us all about manifestation. He, like I said, Yehuda Berg wrote, I just learned now, 26 books that have to do with spirituality. So, Yehuda, thank you so much for coming. And please welcome Yehuda Berg.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, originally, when Rafi called me, manifestation, reality, seeing, and I had something planned, and then I'm Israeli by nature, by birth. I was born in Jerusalem, and when things were happening, things are still happening, and where I come from, I was thinking that I'll start there because um, 12 years ago, when I was thinking about the conflict then, Israel, its surrounding, and everything that always seems to happen, I'm like, what can I as an individual do? Can I do anything to bring light to places? And actually talk to people around me. And what may now seem like insane, I actually went to Lebanon, even though I have an Israeli passport, but I went with my American passport. Went to Lebanon, trying to bring some light to, and actually went to southern Lebanon into the Hezbollah headquarters and trying to bring some books of positivity. What seems now crazy, what seems now as something insane. And then from Beirut, I flew to Egypt and traveled to the Gaza Strip and tried to do the same thing. Then it sounds crazy. And when I was thinking about bending reality, like, would I do that today? Absolutely not. Probably would. It would be a one-way trip. But we have to think of, if we think the same, we'll see the same. If we will be the same, everything will be the same. We have to think at least. By nature, I'm a Gemini, is my star sign, and we tend to be on the craziness spectrum. If not on the actual. Anybody Gemini? Anybody? Okay. Yes. Okay. So you know what I mean, right? But though even those of us who may not have a few screws missing or a few things not 100%, we still need to if again, if we want to manifest everything that we want to manifest, it's a question. If we like everything as is, don't do anything, don't listen to anybody. It's just live your life. You'll be the same place you are. You'll get to the same place you are. Everything's great. But if we want to actually achieve, manifest, do, then something has to be different. And once in a while, we should have we should have enough we should have a dream that's not only is crazy but also a little scares us. We should think of stuff that seems as remote as a possibility. Like when I talk to my kids, I was actually living in Israel. I was living in Israel. My kids are like, please don't go back. Please don't go back. Please don't go back till everything quiets down. I'm like, okay, I won't go back. I'll be here for as ever long. But um, when in conversations, I'm like, you know, talk about the fear that because part of being crazy sometimes is you have to be a little fearless. Not completely. Fear is obviously um, implanted in us as humans for a purpose. Sometimes it's to overcome it, and sometimes it's actually to give us some kind of boundaries. And so when my when anybody Scorpio here, because I have a son who's Scorpio and he has lots of fears. So just um so my Scorpio son, he's like he's the one like really living in the fear, and so we were trying to identify. I'm like, what's the fear about? And trying to help him work through that. I mean, he's going to be 20 now. Is we're in the moon has entered uh Scorpio. Now it's past Scorpio, and from the 21st starts the Scorpio time, and very intense, obviously intense energy, but also it's an opportunity to be able to overcome that fear energy. So when we think about trying to manifest, when we think about going above and increasing our our capacity, increasing our vessel, because we want to achieve more, right? We want to really, whatever we think is possible, to do more. There's so many people who come into this world, and if they were thinking the same like they did, they wouldn't have accomplished what they did. And that works on all levels and many levels in different aspects. And even if it's just for ourselves, to be in a relationship, to be in a successful relationship, children, and whatever that is, for many of us, it's it is a bridge that we have to cross to get and manifest these things. I know for myself that there are definitely things, and this doesn't have to be everybody's um, sort of movie, and we all have our different things. We all have our barriers, we have our fears, and we have our um, capacity of seeing. We have to be able to see beyond where we are, and unfortunately, um, there are things that block us. Our fears are definitely alive and well. Our capacity is not always where it should be, but to get to that place when we go from capacity X to capacity Y to manifesting X to manifesting Y. One very important thing that I try to tell myself, not always successful, is that whatever whatever's in my life, it's there for a reason. Whatever is there, right? We are told we're the we write the script for our life. We bring the actors we want to bring in. We could take them out. We could bring them in, This is our domain. We're the master of this domain. Unfortunately, when things happen, we tend to not take responsibility for enabling things, not take responsibility for bringing people into our life, for doing things, for trusting, whatever it is. We tend to blame as opposed to take responsibility. It's a very, very, very um, basic, but unfortunately hurts our capacity and hurts our manifestation. There's a story about a king. King's on decides to take some of his advisors. They're going on a cruise in the river. And they're all together, him and his advisors, and the king's on the ledge of the boat. And his signet, his ring of the king, where he signs all his stuff, where it's the word of the king. It fell into the water. And he lines up his advisors like, any one of you, if you get me that back, I'll give you whatever you want. No. Someone tells you that, everyone should jump in, but no one jumps in. Because of very dangerous waters. The current was dangerous, very dangerous. Sea life down there, very dangerous. Suddenly, out of nowhere, someone jumps in, dives in, starts fighting with all whatever's down there. After 93 seconds, comes back up with the ring. He says, Sir King, here's your ring. The king's like, okay. And the guy's bloody. He needs to get fixed up. Whatever was attacking him. He's not in great shape, but he's alive. So the king says, now I have to fulfill my part. Whatever you want, you could have. Just name it. You want a castle, you want this, you want that, whatever you want. Anything. Limitless. Limitless amount of cost. Whatever you want is yours. The guy's like, I only want to know one thing. It's like, what? It's like, I want to know who pushed me into the water. Right? Now, it's funny, but it's actually life. When we get an opportunity, he could have had whatever he wanted, literally, in the metaphor. Anything he wanted. $1 billion would have been in his bank account the next second. But because we're so sometimes attached to blame, as opposed to responsibility, we give up these opportunities. And a lot of times, when things do happen in our life, they're there to teach us. They're there to move us. They're there to stop living in place A. You need to be moving on to other greater places. And if certain things don't happen, we would never stop. We would just continue our existence. And we all, in different times in our life, we've all experienced earth-shaking moments where we're like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. As I said, I grew up in Jerusalem till the age of 12. We lived in Israel, moved to New York, then moved to LA, and 3 years ago I moved back to Israel. And at different times in life, I did certain things. And if not for specific earth-shattering situations, I wouldn't have moved from place A to place B. It just wouldn't have happened. And obviously our first reaction when those things happen is either blame or why, as opposed to maybe the universe wants us to be in a better place. Why does just because something happens that shakes our foundation, our first reaction is, why did this happen? Maybe the only reason it happened, and obviously every person's journey is different. Every person is living a different reality. But if we want to get to that place where we're manifesting more, and we're literally changing what it is um, that our experience is. A lot of times the universe comes to shake it because we're not doing it by ourselves. We're a little stubborn. We're too bought into whatever it is that we bought into. And in order to really move us to more, not to less, to more, sometimes the process, you know, sometimes the process isn't comfortable. I've went through personally myself many processes that weren't comfortable. But at the end, most of the time, well, obviously the universe wants from us, but not always is the journey comfortable. You know, you take a in order to get fruit, you take a seed, you put it in the ground, the seed disappears. The seed goes through a whole process. There's a tree, there's leaf, da 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 da. X amount of time later comes a fruit. Or think of how we make wine. Take these amazing grapes, you step on them, you squeeze the life out of them, you go through a whole process. The grape has gone, the grape has disappeared. But eventually, this amazing wine comes out. So sometimes in life, to go from grape to wine, our egos sometimes get crushed a bit. Our path is not as certain. But in order to get to that place where it's this unbelievable, very special wine, it goes through. And so if we want to manifest that, we have to know that part of the process is not going to be as comfortable as we want it to be. And some of us are creatures of habit and like things as we are just because we're used to it. But the universe wants us to manifest more. It does. It's part of us as humans. You know, we're constantly graduating. You know, none of us stay as a child. You know, they drink, they eat, they sleep. Then they get older, they do a little more, and then they become an adult. And then life starts. But where we are today is different than where we were 10 years ago and 20 years ago. This is the reason we're put here on this planet is to be evolving. Is to be evolving and manifesting more on a constant basis. Not to change everything too fast. But we know deep inside, and that's the other relationship that we have to make sure we're cultivating, is listening to ourselves. We know deep inside when we are at a place where, okay, I got here, I accomplished this, now it's time for more. We know deep inside, but we don't want to listen to it because it may be difficult. I may have to change jobs. I may have to change places where I live. I may have to do things that aren't comfortable. But if we want to stay comfortable, we'll stay exactly where we are. The other thing that comes with it is being okay with not being comfortable. If we're okay with that, then the universe will guide you. I know that for myself, the universe has helped me a lot. I grew up, both my parents were on a spiritual path, so it sort of found me. And then I went through my own spiritual journey because I hit many roadblocks and I was like, okay, I need to change. And I found my own sort of teachers, My father had died and needed to find my own new spiritual teacher. And sometimes it takes a spiritual teacher to help guide you. And sometimes we're the best teacher. And each person's path is different. But the first two ideas. One, we have to actually take responsibility. Not the blaming kind of thing. And two, it's going to be uncomfortable. Manifesting more will require us to be out of our comfort zone. 100%. It's just a decision we have to make that I'm okay with that. And the idea that what we see today, when you open your phone, you don't know if what you're seeing is reality or not, or generated, or so much of what reality has become, at least in our life, we have to be true judges of ourselves. Ask ourselves the tough questions. You know, I find it difficult before I go to sleep. I have severe ADD, and so I need to distract myself till I fall asleep. So going to sleep doesn't work for me. When I wake up, I have a little window where I'm not totally awake, but I'm okay with having a conversation with myself. So that's where I find myself. It doesn't have to be every night, but it just has to be occasionally having conversation with ourselves and really just do inventory. Like, dude, what's up? Are we okay with this? Are we okay with that? Like, really, like, in whatever way possible, to have a real conversation with ourselves. Sometimes, if we feel a little, maybe we don't know the answers or don't know how we're doing, find someone who really cares about you to have that conversation if necessary. The best is to be able to have the conversation with ourselves. But if difficult sometimes, then it's okay to have that. But usually we know when it's time to manifest more. And even if it's not a big thing, we know when it's time to manifest just part of our life. To manifest a little more in an aspect of our life. Doesn't even have to mean, it could mean that, let's say we're in an amazing relationship. But it's time for that relationship to get to a higher level. Doesn't mean that something actually physically has to be different. You don't have to move in, you don't have to get engaged, you don't have to go this, you don't have to do that. Nothing actually change, but something internal. When with different relationships, with the friendships, partnerships, any kind of relationship, there are times when something actually changes. And we get to another level, a different level. And that's also manifesting. To be even more transparent with the relationships we have. Be more transparent in the connections we have. And that's manifesting more. Just our relationships can manifest more. And deep inside, especially if there's something we should say or not say, or we're not sure, and we have this feeling, we have those, we know when it's time for the next level. Doesn't have to be everything, but sometimes it's moving jobs, moving countries, moving even houses, because a year ago I had to move. I was living in Israel to move from one place to another, and for some reason I ended up having to extend. It wasn't moving, and then I decided one day, okay, I'm gonna have a conversation with my old place and telling the place that I was done. That me and the place I was living in, we maxed our relationship. I should let it go, and the place should let me go. It was amazing. It was an amazing conversation. I know you may think I'm nuts, but It was an amazing conversation. And when we go through those change periods, we should try, if we can, if we're on speaking terms with our, if we break up and we're on decent terms with our ex, we could have that conversation. Like, thank you for this time. Thank you for the lessons. I learned this and this from you. Really, thank you. And have be a two-way conversation. If it's a place that you live, if it's whatever it is that we're transitioning from, we should be very thankful. Because by being thankful for that, we open ourselves more to manifest more in the next place that we're going into. And you could even be a little paradoxical, but you could even be selfish in this, meaning being grateful because it's better for you moving on. Obviously, it would be better just to be grateful, just to be in gratitude. But some of us have difficulty to live there, to live in gratitude all the time, which is fine. We're definitely not expected to be perfect in this life. Nobody's here to be perfect. The universe wasn't created for perfect people. That's why the universe created all of us, right? I mean, at least me. Maybe some of you are perfect, but we are perfect in our imperfections. We're just not perfect. I'll just do another astrological thing. If you're a Leo, I'm sorry, but even you're not perfect. Okay? Just a by the way. Aries are amazing. My son's an Aries, so I'll only say good things, but they tend to be stubborn. We could do a lightning round of each one and the good and the bad, but they're amazing. They're a kid at heart forever, and full of joy. Okay. Okay, my brother's a Cancer. Their life, their home life, very important for them. Their home life and their safety. Unfortunately, operate from a lot of fears usually. And if you are able to penetrate a Cancer's heart, which is not easy, but if you are, it could be very, very special. But usually, Taurus, oh my God. My sister's a Taurus, and I'll just do this quickly. We'll get back to manifesting reality, but we'll do this. Okay. Rafi, I hope it's okay. 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 Tauruses, if you gave them the opportunity, they'll eat the same thing, they'll do the same thing, they'll just repeat the same day, Groundhog Day, over and over and over and over and over again for their entire life if you let them. Thank God the universe sometimes shakes us up from our routine. And very important for Taurus to get out of that routine. I have a friend, he eats salmon for dinner and lunch every single day. He has his coffee and his little pastry, and he has salmon and vegetables for lunch and dinner. He goes out to eat at no matter what restaurant. Yehuda, is there salmon? If there's no salmon, he doesn't go to dinner. That's all. It's a routine. So if we want to have more, just a little. Branch out into black cod, maybe. Go crazy and have some other fish. Anyway, so we did Aries, we did Taurus, we did Gemini, we did Cancer, Virgo, Leo. We'll go in order. If that's okay, we'll just go in order. We won't forget anyone. Even though Pisces is at the end, and Pisces always thinks we forget about them. We'll make sure we won't forget Pisces, okay? Sorry. I had this whole other thing planned, but whatever. Anyway, we're good. So Leos, my dad was a Leo. He knew absolutely he actually knew a lot, but he actually thought he knew everything. Think about this. The month of September, when you look at the calendar, September is 7. October is 8. Octagon. But two Leos, egotistical Leos, decided, no, we're going to move the months around. The 2 months of the Leo, Julius Caesar for July, Augustus Caesar for August. We don't care what the months are named. September is 7. No. We need months under our name. We are the center of the universe. That's a Leo. So these two guys decided 7th month will become the 9th month. October will come the 10th month. November Novo is 9. Dis is 10. It's the 12th month. These guys could care less. They know it all. The world surrounds around the Leos. Okay, Virgos. Virgos are very, very big compartmentalizing. They have nobody here, but people in the world, the more serial killers are Virgos. Because they're, anyway, very organized, will and don't understand when others aren't organized. If there's 20 pictures in a room and one's a little crooked, they'll focus on the one that's not straight. Not just focus, I'm a Virgo rising. Not just focus on it. It's going to disturb them to the depths of their soul that it's not straight. But they're amazing to work with. If you could find a way to work with a Virgo, they're amazing. Very hard workers. They'll get the job done. Just have to tiptoe around those different things. Libras, okay? My mom was a Libra. Any Libras? Or we okay. So, very hard to make decisions, right? The scales are constantly moving. Very difficult. Sorry, my mom died 3 years ago, but I still, when I think of Libras, I always remember her. And they have a justice thing, and they'll argue with you, even if they think or even they know they're wrong. If they feel that you're going against someone for whatever reason, they'll know they're wrong. They'll make things up. Anything to win an argument. I'm not an astrologer. I just know people, okay? This is just the Cliff Notes short version to just have a little awareness. So when we go about this world, if you ask someone's sign, you just know a little about them. So sometimes I want to strangle my mom because she makes up stuff in an argument. I'm like, Mom! She'll convince me that I'm wrong and she didn't make it up. But the most amazing person I've ever met was a Libra, so my mom. Anyway, Scorpios, as we said, they're very intense. Women more intense than the Scorpios, definitely. Usually could tell Scorpios with their eyes. They have very penetrating eyes because they're looking deep inside your soul. They have to make a decision if whoever they're meeting, is this person going to hurt me or not? Is this person what does this person want from me? Do I need to protect myself? What do I need to, and all this they're just saying hello to you. It's not like they're going through their life story. It's just hi, and all of this is going in their minds while they're saying hi to you. Okay. Sagittarius. Who's the Sagittarius? Okay, good. Okay. Sagittarius love adventure. They love adventure, occasionally even to on borderline dangerous danger, and should be try to try to be on this side of adventure than that side of adventure. We don't have to. We don't have to be on full adrenaline to feel alive. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Wow. So, you know, I was talking to Joseph before. He talks about the reptilian brain and flight, and you know, our adrenaline level and all that. And Sagittarius, that's their life fluid, is adrenaline. If there is no adrenaline, they feel dead. So so they need it. So what a Sagittarius needs to learn to do is to bring it down. I'm sorry, what's your name? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I feel bad. Okay, Amy, I'm sorry. Capricorn. Okay. Capricorn. Very hardworking. Work is everything for them. Work is more important than so many things that are, to most people, we have so many other things. Work is like another thing. Work is their life. Capricorn's life is their work. And they need a very stable, they need to be very stable, very, not recommended to shake the foundation that a Capricorn's on. They very need their stability, especially at work. They're equate their value with work, finances in that place. The value is placed there, and very hardworking. I had a partner at work who was a Capricorn. Always was at work before me. Always left after me. I'm like, when do you live? And they're like, this is life. I'm like, really? Like, anyway, Capricorn. Aquarius is the a delightful sign. Sneakily think they know everything. Like it's a sneaky thing because they're all bubbly and nice and mostly live in the clouds. They live over here. They dream over here. They live over here, and everything's in the sort of in the ether. And sometimes you have to just bring them. We don't have to bring them too much because sometimes I wish I lived here because it looks so blissful and so amazing. But need to be pushed down to reality sometimes. You know, bills have to be paid, relationships have to be had, things have to happen. They won't happen in the air. Anyway, Pisces. We're done, right? So Pisces, there's two levels to the Pisces, right? The two fish. One is the sort of this fish, and then there's two. There's two when you have them. Now, unfortunately, Pisces usually let you only see the one and not the deeper one. Because they keep that for themselves. Or for the very, very special ones. So mostly they're not understood. They usually a lot of times eat their pain in silence. My daughter's a Pisces, my youngest, my baby. She's 17, but it's my baby. And just very important for them that we understand them. It must be understood before anything. It's so important for a Pisces to just feel understood, feel heard. Like if my daughter talks to me, I'm on the phone. She's like, "You're not listening to me." I could repeat every single word to her, and she'll still be, no, but you didn't understand. You didn't listen to me. They have to be. They need to feel that you feel them. They need to feel that you understand them. Everything is the feeling. It's not if you actually did or didn't. It's how they feel. So if you have a connection with a Pisces, it's so important that they know that you're listening. But no, if you want to hold their hand when you talk to them, so just they could see them and look them in the eyes. Make sure that you know they're very kind of. Think about my daughter. They're very like they are special, but but we often don't see that because we don't take the time, the extra step in order to do that. So if you have a Pisces in your life, take the extra step, hold their hand, see their eyes, connect with them, and then you'll have a real you'll have you'll gain a lot more from them in your life than just by you know like that. This is how they feel that they're over here, but bring them over here. And they're off, are completely sidetracked. And but thank you for indulging me, Rafi. Thank you for having me. I hope I increase something in each person's life just a little. Thank you so much.